Hello, everybody. Welcome to Getting Down with Dave and special guest JT Kirk. Welcome back, man. I know you were feeling a
Hey,
little
good
off
evening.
for a little while there. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm finally getting back. Was struggling with some streams later in the week after I couldn't do your show. But I'm feeling like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm always excited to read the comics, right? So,
Yeah. We've got some pretty good ones here. I think I already know what most of the things you're going to come at one, especially number 14. But we are doing 13,
mhm.
and if we get to it,
Oh,
which we usually do, 13 and 14.
you
So
got some
usually,
plastic around that one, or
oh yeah.
yeah,
These are older ones though, or did I put these in new ones? Yeah. These are new ones. These are new, no tapes, no tape, just
cool.
the nice ones. Yeah, I need to buy a bunch more for my other ones. But I haven't transitioned over to getting ready those tape ones for my horror stories.
Right.
My jungle action number 5, putting it right in the middle with
Nice.
the tape and stuff like
Nice.
that. Yeah, so
Well, I got a new acquisition of my own. My signed and graded the CGC ISOM #1 came in today.
oh, very nice. Very
Yes.
nice. Do you want to
So,
show it off or what?
I'm not in a good camera spot right now, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Is it the regular cover?
I think it's cover number A.
The A cover?
It's not one of the reprintable covers. Let me
Ah,
see here.
yeah. And I'll be honest, I haven't gotten any of them. Have you been reading them?
Oh yeah, yep. I've got
Yeah.
them. I've got pretty much everything they've put out, I think.
Nice.
So,
I think I need to catch up with those. The Flash Gordon, although that's not a DC or Marvel. I can't think the one that Nick Weiser likes, and J-Man and them, and the Conan one, and probably the Transformer one. We'll see. We'll see
mhm,
how it goes. I'm getting far behind these guys, but that's why I watch their shows.
right. Let's see
So
here. I'm
I'm gonna
trying
get.
to
I'm gonna.
trying to
What?
find. Can't find a good picture of the cover for you, unfortunately, at the
Oh, no
moment for some
worries.
reason. But yeah,
No worries. I'm gonna pull up the sharing the screen thing as I normally do here, and as you know, and everybody knows, it takes like 10 steps to get it rolling.
yes,
And oh, okay, it's added the stage. Nice. Then I have to go back and pull it down and go back to StreamYard. Where'd it go? I lost it. Give me a second here, guys. There we go. Okay, we'll give it a test scroll as always, everybody. And give it a second on the other side, which is usually about 10 seconds nowadays. There we go. And it is working on the YouTubes. So have you had a chance to catch up to any of these, or because I know you've read them before?
I did not reread this evening's. I did reread the couple page synopsis from last week just to remember. I was in the chat all last week. If folks remember, I was an
Yes.
active listener or an active viewer, but I still needed a little bit of refresher. So thankfully, we get a little bit of that. This scavenger planet is an interesting concept and a divergence pretty big from either the original or the reboot of BSG. So
Yeah, and I liked it. I mean, there's a million things you could have picked. They picked that. They stuck with it for a couple of issues. It's going to
mhm,
continue here because we're no spoiler alerts because this is what we're doing anyway. Um, and if you noticed on the covers from last week, they're not throwing the title or plot leak line or whatever they always have a little saying. They only did it on one of them from last week. As you can tell, it's not here on this cover as well, but we get
right.
a full battle scene, which is pretty good, I guess, right?
Oh yeah.
A lot
Oh
of
yeah.
yellow.
It is a
uh,
lot of yellow, but I also like in a way that there's no characters on the front.
Yeah, they skipped the characters, went straight to nothing but a big old battle scene, which picks up right from the back page of the last page of the number 12.
Mhm.
So if you've been following along, a quick recap is that they've been on that scavenger world, right? And
Yes.
Starbuck is in a bad spot because the lady Urali, who's in charge of everything, she has telekinesis powers. I know I didn't say that right, but she has strong mental powers, except for him.
Mhm.
All right.
Yep.
Um, and the Cylons are always chasing, and they go up against, or at least they thought two, but then it turns out to be three base stars, Cylon base stars. So we get a full page thing here, which is something they haven't done before, really.
I like the idea. I think it's cool. I just don't particularly think this cover grabs people.
Yeah, the concept art I love, right? The concept
Mhm.
of it. I mean, you get lots of pew pew and all that kind of stuff. I don't know about the colors. It's just
Yeah, the
I'm like,
colors are
what? The
off,
yellow.
and it kind of messes with your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, the yellow on the Battlestar behind a blue background.
Mhm.
But I mean, they've got to make decisions to make the comics look as good as they can do it. So, which is a topic that we always talk about, throw in there.
Right. Right.
um, and for everybody that may or may not, or may have missed it, Adama was freed, right, by the Lorelei and blew up the whole mind machine thing. And
Mhm.
he came out of it okay and immediately was jumped into action, right? Uh, what I like about this one is they go right into it. They're not from the cover straight to the splash page, and it's straight into right off from where they left from the last one.
Yep.
Um, this thing doesn't look like a Cylon base star though. It looks like I don't know, just like a. I mean, we know,
Yeah. It
yeah.
looks really off.
This is a bridge view, and there we
Mhm.
go. We get our title, collision course. So Lucifer, the head Cylon guy, has decided to take one of the three ships and just ram them, ramming speed.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Lieutenant Worf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
this is what's happening. Basically, he's sacrificing one of the ships. He's launched all the Centurion Raiders, and he's
Mhm.
just basically says, just ram them, go at it. And I almost spoiled alert for something a little bit I was going to say, but I'll bite my lip on it. Uh, so it's
I
coming
read
right at the
collision
catalyst.
course, and not only do I think there's going to be a physical collision, but I think there's going to be a collision of wills as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, that's just
They,
when I read that. That's what I think when I see it. So,
yeah, they do a good job that we've noticed of these titles, right? And
Mhm.
the covers, and if you don't know what's going on, if you stare at the cover and look at it for a while, you can figure out, okay, there's going to be a big battle, obviously, right? And then they didn't put the title on the front page, which they would normally have done. They started going away from that, and they put it on the splash page. So it's kind of okay. Well, we already kind of know, but you're right. It is a lead up. Um, so Adama's basically having to deal with everything coming out of the spine machine. Like I said, he's straight into action, man. No
right.
hesitation, had to take over. And just doesn't really have much time to think, but he's good at what he does. So um, he's already he moved too fast, I guess. He's already talked to this Urali lady, right, to help defeat the Cylons. Just to
Mhm.
just to recap that as well. And he says that here, patch me through to her, and then bring the Galactica to this particular heading. Now, I don't know who these two guys are here, JT. Um, they said something kind of odd, being military, and then this being a military show, really. Um,
These two
this
guys
guy,
in with the red hair.
Yeah, these two guys here at the top corner, he's given an order on the bridge in the middle of battle. And this guy's like, what? What do you
Well, it's
mean?
not Sire Yuri, is it?
No, this guy isn't Sire Yuri. So I don't know if they're just standby people. They're just watching. You know what I mean? I kind of lose a little context there. I don't know. They're supposed to be up on the bridge. And this guy goes, hey, man. Finally, somebody else that's off of the main characters has stood up for Adam. We know he has people who love him and people who hate him. But I always said there's not enough people who they show that stand up for him, right?
Right.
This guy does. He's like, hey, man, if he says do the order, do the order. Now shut up and obey the orders, okay? Yeah. So I like that. And I was like, yes, okay. Who are you? I guess he's at the bridge. Whatever. That was just something a little weird. I was like, who are these guys?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's okay with me, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. It's just, I'm not nitpicking. Just little things. We'll JT and I will let you know when we're nitpicking. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I'm nitpicking.
Yeah.
You'll know the difference of, because I always say, okay, we'll move on. I just thought it was kind of funny, but I wanted to point it out because here was somebody we've never met, have no idea who he is. We're just assuming he's on the bridge, and he's like telling somebody else, "Hey, you shut up. Adama's done good." You know what I mean? But for somebody to like question the orders right then and there is a little odd, but I like it. And then the Scavenger World characters, people, when they're not people, right? But I just call them characters. That's what I was saying here. They're set up and ready to help out. And of course, they're all parts. They're all for parts. And
it's an interesting canon that they have.
Yeah, it's different, right? Just looking through this thing. And I like this little swooping Battlestar Galactica coming around, but it's a little odd.
I don't like this, and I don't like this because it betrays the scale of what these ships are, and that's what I had a problem with on the cover. Is the perspective was all wrong, and so sizing of objects and distance was off. I do not like this. Whatever it is they're trying to do here by showing some kind of chase, it just doesn't work.
It's the idea of it I like, right? I like the ship coming around, but there's no scaling, and they're really trying to show it, but I guess I don't know what this stuff here is to the left, bottom left. I don't know. Ships.
And the Galactica doesn't look right.
No, the head looks like a shovel. It's the concept of what they're trying to do. I guess I kind of like what they're thinking, that they want to have this really good shot. That's the part I do like. And like you said, I mean, I like the swooping of this, but then it doesn't show, like, it's kind of weird. It's a little odd. Like, I don't know what all these stuff is to the bottom left here. Ships, I guess, right?
Now, in this show, or in this comic, BSG has lasers.
Yes, I had brought this up before when they had, I guess they were fighting them at the Tellinian planet, or the Ovion planet. I guess when the base star came in, and they were, I was thinking, I wonder if they're going to use, because they were still following the show. So I didn't think they would use this. The Battlestars have an all-out shoot everything type of press this button here, and it just goes crazy. It just goes ballistic. I mean, it just shoots all of these lasers at one time. Like they have a backup of a backup.
And it's supposed to be like a World War II aircraft carrier, like late war, where they've just strapped guns on top of their guns to stop, one-way flight aircraft, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. And I was wondering if they were going to use it, and they did here, but I didn't think he would use it on just one of them. because now the fleet is kind of like on the other. They're not actually with the fleet here. The fleet is actually under attack as well. For everybody's wanting to know, they're actually getting murdered badly. Like they're losing a lot of ships, but he's got to deal with this one right here. So they do all these, and I still not sure, JT, if this is the actual one that I'm talking about, where this thing the Battlestar can just go absolutely ballistic. You know what I mean? And it just shoots from all kinds of places. It has that capability. It's like a last ditch effort type of thing. I like these characters down on the scavenger world are blasting because they just want parts. They're pretty one-minded, but they stick to it. That's all they care about. They want them Cylons, and they just want to get the ship. So they're pretty much jacked when they see this Battlestar. I'm not Battlestar, but the Cylon base star coming, right? They're like, oh boy. Fry them silver-plated buggers. Fry them good.
Right.
So
and hail Gap After Dark. Welcome.
Hey Gap, what's up, man? How you doing? So that was kind of funny. I like how they stick to that at least. So they blast this base star, but it doesn't quite do the job. And we get some Cylons, yay! And here's an interesting character. The Cylon on top of the podium, JT. You see the gold? You see the gold one? Yeah. They haven't had that character stand out as far as I might have been in there somewhere sooner. I think we saw him once before, but not in a role, like in a big role, right? So they've got a gold Cylon guy. If you know the lore, he's like a leader. They call him garrison leader. There it is, right there, right? So he's in charge. They're getting kind of jacked up here. I like this with the Cylons, the interaction to see what's going on their side of the aisle, right? And they're like, oh, extensive damage to this, and this. And then JT, they did it again with these Cylons. They went all like, they started talking like humans, right? We've brought this up a couple of times that they're just robots, right? Obviously very, very advanced. But they every now and then, and this continues, by the way, to something really cool later. Nope, follow orders. We're gonna crush them. And then he goes, well, it's kind of a shame we're so expendable. I rather enjoyed functioning. I thought, okay, so you know what I'm gonna say, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I don't put you on the spot or anything,
I don't know.
But we've brought this up a few times that they're not sentient beings.
Yeah, and it was it's a bit cheesy. It's a bit cheesy.
Yeah, and you could say we might be nitpicking here, but I don't think I am because it's a robot. But they do it for the comics and put a little human element to their side of things, or they'd be really, really boring, right? I mean, be too robotic. But to say things like it's a shame we're expendable gives you self-awareness, right? I don't know if you want your Cylon Centurion Raider commanders running around with self-awareness,
right?
When you're telling them to go on suicide mission. Look, I shouldn't say that, right? But screw it. That's the comic. It's educational, right? So when you're going on those kind of missions, you don't want them self-doubting themselves as people, right?
Yeah, well, and my thing was the story was never about the Cylons on the TV show. They were just an enemy to contend with, one of many.
Yeah. And we've talked about the differences between Lucifer being way more advanced than them and maybe even having some of that kind of advanced human type sentient logic. Even Gap agrees it's a bit cheesy. Anyway, that was just something I pointed out because it seems to be a theme that they don't do all the time, but they throw it in every now and then, right?
Right. And sometimes I wonder who wrote it this week. And keeps attributing those traits. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give them credit for at least sticking to the fact that they don't do it all the time, which is good, because then it would just be bad. We'd be harping on it at that point, and just every now and then. But sometimes the writing, it throws you really off. It's like, what? You didn't say that. So, and then we get like a whole, like almost a whole page, half page of the base star is actually breaking in half. They finally they succeed, but it still doesn't quite work all the way. They think it's okay. And if you have any comments, I'm going to just scroll down.
I did not like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Instruction shot. I think it's confusing telling what's going on. I just am not a fan of the art on that page.
Yeah, that's just a big white spot in the center, red, yellow, and they have to put a lot of dialogue in here to tell you what's going on, right? And they have to write it all out
because they couldn't show it well enough, I suppose.
Yeah, and it says, oh yeah, it's working. It's splitting at the central pylon, but a big chunk of it, considering it's a base star, luckily for the Galactica, right? Of course, it's not going to destroy the whole Galactica, but it hits the front part and rips out a good chunk of the front part of the Galactica there, and then smashes into Scavenger World. So we know now that the Battlestar Galactica has taken some serious damage. But there's still a fight going on, which they haven't really talked about yet. That's why I keep bringing it up, that the ships are still, there's a bunch of Cylon Raiders around, right? I mean, you got 3 base stars with Cylon Raiders just flying around. Hey, Buddy Hepburn.
Hey, buddy.
Glad you could join us. And let's see. Lucifer did display. Good Yeah, but I mean, anytime you have like aircraft carriers, you got to wonder how much fuel they have. And he says that Lucifer did display that concern when Baltar was around. So yeah, they're very good when it comes to tactical knowledge, but they're not as good as Adama, right? So, what were you going to say? I forgot. Sorry.
I was going to say, so it hits the Galactica.
Yeah, piece of it does.
Yeah, and then it just hits.
It continues. I guess one part of it, one piece goes off somewhere, and one piece hits like the metal Scavenger World.
How fast is this going?
Pretty fast. It was at ramming speed, right?
Yeah, but
in the context of things, they never really tell you how big the Scavenger World is. Apparently it's huge, right? It's a planet-sized type of thing. World. Wouldn't say planet world. No, I don't want to get too confused about that, but it's big enough to take that like it's nothing. Because nobody even brings up the fact that, oh my God, that thing just slammed into our planet. You know what I mean? They're just parts.
I don't like this again. It's too convenient.
There's too convenient.
The time is too compressed. Is the Galactica literally right on top of this planet, quote unquote?
Yeah, and because it's floating metal, it's hard to ascertain the differences between atmosphere like we would have and atmosphere. They don't. I'm just assuming that it will fall right into. They don't have like a gravity field or orbit type stuff, and if they do, it doesn't matter here, right?
Yeah.
You know?
It just doesn't seem like enough care was given to the plot.
No, they skip over it, and we're kind of used to it, right? I mean, we're kind of used to them doing this. Well, in some of the issues, I think this isn't going to be one of the better ones, but we'll see. You never know what you're going to get between 2 issues now, right? Between each issues.
Right.
So the damage is so bad that Adama has to stop. And Apollo's like, look, we have to go help the rest of the fleet. And he's like, well, we can't. So when you're talking about time issues, you're like, okay, so it's that bad off. Wow. Okay, where are all the Vipers at? And then can they launch the Vipers to go help? I'm not sure about those kind of things, JT. You know, but he's like, there's nothing we can do. But again, Apollo's sitting here. There's no reason for him to be there, right? Wouldn't he be out in a Viper? It's a little odd that he's sitting there.
Should be already, right?
I would think so. And then he goes, well,
that's his muster station. Is the flight?
Yeah, he brings it up. Well, I can go. And I'm like, well, why are you there anyway?
Exactly.
I guess this is all the time frame. Now, normally they would be pretty good at putting little time boxes, like a few centimes later in this other one, but they're not doing a very good job of keeping track of some of the main characters, like Apollo. He was there because of the whole Sire Yuri thing, right? And I'm sorry, I back up, because of her, Uralai. She came on board on the last issue. She came on board to the Galactica, and Apollo was there because of that. So that would be the only real reason. But at this point, with Adama already being out, there was no reason for him to be there anymore. He's like, Adama would have already sent him, go, right?
Right.
Because he's already out taking over and stuff like that. So you remember, she's only there to make sure she gets Starbuck, and she brings it up, and she was like, nope, you guys made a deal. Adama tries to go against it. She's like, nope. And they do put a little box there. If you missed it, that was the last issue. Starbuck is going to be stuck with her. And Apollo's trying to talk him out of it, but he's like, look, she's a very dangerous character, right, JT?
Oh, yes.
I mean,
oh, yes.
He
doesn't have a choice in the matter.
No. I mean, especially because we talked about distance with her. They were a little confusing. Sometimes it seems like she can do a lot from the distance, like bringing them in, but then sometimes she has to be close, like she wanted to be there. I think she really did that to make sure she got Starbuck back, right? I think she probably could have done it from Scavenger World, but anywho, Starbuck brings it up. He's like, look, man, she's got mind controlling powers, and I think they didn't do enough to. I thought maybe this would have been a good time if she would have shown her power a little bit, maybe to Adama or some guy, some red shirt standing around, right? Just make them start suffering. Where he's like, and she's like, see, you want to screw with me? Give me Starbuck, or and then they go, okay. So they kind of missed out on a good opportunity here to really show her powers again. But he brings it up, and they go with it, and Starbuck sticks to his word. And they don't, like you said, they don't have a choice.
Right.
Yeah, what's that, buddy? Looks like he's showing something to Adama there. I'm not sure if you can point it out, buddy. I'll put it on page 7. I can scroll up.
I know.
Whatever you want.
I don't see where he's talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to scroll. Sorry for all the scrolling. I'm going back. Let's see. Yeah, Adama's trying to tell her you can't have him, and she's not having that. Some good little art here with the Viper, underside of the Viper. This is a little bit better, I think, at least for me. But we all know Starbuck's not going to just totally give up, even though it pretty much seems like he has to here. Remember, there's still 2 more base stars, right? There's a whole fight going on right now. And you really have to keep track. We've mentioned this before. You really have to keep track for a lot of the things that go on in this comic book. And you have to do that as well when you have different subplots and different themes going on. You have to do that with every comic book, knowing that this is going on and this is going on. You got a whole nother backstory and stuff like that. But they always tend to have 2-3 things going on at one time.
Yes, they do. This is kind of dark. at the top of this page, the top right.
The dialogue.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, like when she's like, "You're gonna be a king," or it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he
But
remember
she
he
calls him her lover, and there's implications in there.
yeah, total total
Mm,
implications.
yeah.
He still remember when the other character said Fry, that Fry, the other one, Fryer. We loved. Remember the really sinister one I didn't like being a comic book, not because I'm old. I just thought wasn't appropriate for kids or whatever. Remember that
Yeah.
one? I
Hmm.
really like to see her fry. And I was like, okay, even for me, now this isn't an R-rated movie in the theater. This is a comic book, but it's really meant for teenagers and adults, I think.
Yeah.
Especially after that one. That was creepy. Remember, they harped on it a few times, so he knows. And you're right, it's a dark time for him right now. He
Hmm.
can't go fight. He can't leave. There's nothing he can do because two of their best pilots besides Boomer or Boomer's the only one out there. The two of their best fighters aren't even out in the field.
Right. Right. So they rely on Boomer. Next man
Yep.
stands up.
Yep.
Steps right in.
Boomer's out there kicking ass as he usually does. And they got some good fighting things. I like they featured him a little bit. Just trying to show off some pew pew action, which is really good as always, right?
Yes.
I mean, the art's not bad. They got a good headshot of him with the helmet inside the cockpit there, and the little front shot of the Viper there, and some action going on. And for them, it's not too bad, right? Better than some of the stuff we've seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just filler action. And then we get back to Lucifer. And I
You get
like
some
this.
Cylon by your command right there.
Yes. And I've got to do it at least once, right? So I gotta find it.
By your command, by your command, by your command.
Nice. There we go.
So they're ahead. They're outnumbering the humans 20-1.
Yeah,
Even
it's
with heavy losses.
the writers. I do like how the writers really try. So the page on top, bottom of 10, they go, "Oh, we can't be outnumbered more than 10-1, right?" And then they switch over to the Cylons, and the Cylons are like, "Yeah, we got them outnumbered 20-1," and you're like, "Oh." You know what I mean? I'm getting at with the writers trying to be kind of cute with the dialogue there. So I mean, I like that they do, at least they're trying to do those kind of things. Okay, so here we go again with the sentient attitudes and themes that they go on. So you said you hadn't read this before until tonight?
Oh, I have. I did
Okay.
not reread it tonight.
Yeah. So sorry, I didn't word that correctly. So for tonight, this is the second panel with Lucifer in it. He talks about the concept of having fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So he's like, excellent, Centurion. We've got him outnumbered 20-1. We'll take him out. So he's got a little bravado, right? We know that the Cylons do have a little bit of bravado. It's probably their downfall, right? Most of the time, that they always think they have the upper hand, because most of the time they do, that's a fact. I mean, most of the time they always have the upper hand, but then they always kind of get their ego, dare I say, because I'm the one complaining about having sentient thoughts, right?
Right.
But they have, remember, a few issues back, one of them had an ego, right? Remember, he was talking all badass. That was a long time ago, a few issues back. And I like to try to think that Lucifer has more advanced technology and could be programmed with some kind of better human sentient, like Data, right?
Oh, I definitely think so. Yeah.
Yeah. He's nowhere near on Data's level, I wouldn't think, but he's way past even a gold Cylon Centurion leader. I mean, he's a way more advanced one, but he's trying to it's kind of he's trying to explain to the Cylon Centurion JT the concepts of having fun.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Oh, sorry, buddy. I
Get
never hit the.
cheese plate back out, right? It just
Uh, yeah, I mean, I like it because they're trying to like again, the Cylons. They don't want the Cylons to be too boring, but we don't really need the Centurions to be unboring, right?
mustache
Like,
twirling, right? We
yeah,
don't need them to be mustache twirling villains. Like
yeah.
we
If
don't.
Lucifer wants to crack jokes, that would be great. And I did. And before anybody says anything, yes, way back in the day when we were talking about how high they sit up. Remember, we were joking
Mhm.
about how ridiculous that is. I made a joke that I wish the Cylons would make a joke. It's like, hey, Bob, yeah, Fred, man, my neck is always hurting when we come in here. We always got to stare at this guy. You know what I mean? But
Right.
you can't do that because then it would make me kind of a hypocrite, I guess. But then they would have to stick to breaking the fourth wall with the Cylon. And yeah, the human concepts with these guys it's just weird. But anyway.
It is. And I would like to think of the Cylons as more of robotic, cold, and always just coming at you relentlessly because they're machines, right?
Yeah,
They don't
absolutely.
have that. And this doesn't do it for me, right? I think it removes some of the fear of the Cylons always having impending doom, right? Because they're not just robots 24/7 coming at you anymore, like the Borg almost. And
like Borg, which they're not any fun at all.
exactly.
Yeah, so he's trying to explain to the Cylon that going after them and annihilating the whole human race is great fun. And to their credit, the Cylon goes, fun? I don't understand. And I'm like, this would have been an opportunity for Lucifer to make a crack a joke or something like you tin can. You know what I mean? So they miss a lot of little things, I think. 40, 50 years later, it's easy to couch ride, but I didn't write it. So if they're going to do that, they missed another fourth wall opportunity here, which would have actually made sense if Lucifer made a joke about them being tin cans or something like that. That would have been funny. That would have been hilarious. But I guess it would have detracted from the seriousness of what's going on. He is actually trying to kill everybody.
Yes.
So they don't want to put too much fun in there, but hey, they wrote it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to say adventure, excitement, the thrill of the hunt, another sentient type attitude, right? Hunt. But never mind, Centurion. He kind of realizes he is talking to a tin can. Your BT units are so dreadfully dull, which is exactly what they should be.
Yes.
They're not supposed to be anything more than dull. Is exactly what you said. The 100% to your point. So, but they kind of cover their tracks here with what I was saying. They missed their sense of humor, but they didn't totally. But they put it up here in this yellow box, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't do it in a speech bubble. So I'll backtrack a little bit saying that they tried to put, and they even says it, at least Baltar had a sense of humor. So if you don't really read into this yellow box, obviously you're supposed to read everything here, you're going to miss everything that you and I just talked about, right?
Right.
The sense of humor that he does catch on. It's pointless to talk to the Cylon unless he's entertaining himself. You know what I mean? I'm going to just talk to this tin can because I'm bored, that kind of thing. They touch on it, but it should have been really like in a speech bubble. And then you could have been like, oh my God, Lucifer does have a sense of humor. Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't mean to harp on that too much, but they did put it in the yellow box. So I thought it was important to point that out. That I didn't miss it because sometimes I'll miss stuff like that because I can't sit here and write notes on every single page. So yeah, they've got the other two Battlestars, and they finally go back into the fact that they're just really leveling or destroying all of the fleet. And the concept of time, which you have brought up, is really important, but also we as readers and have to understand that time in different pages are going on at the same time, right?
Right. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, excuse me. 1 second.
Sure. Yeah. So we kind of get back into the well, they're still harping on the whole fun thing. I've actually moved on. They keep bringing it back up as you read while you're getting ready, and he's like, oh well, no matter. Neither she nor the so-called fleet, she champions, I think there's a little typo there. Well, he's got an ego, so the ego comes out again. We're gonna kick your ass. You're not gonna. We're too strong, type of thing. And coming from Lucifer, that's okay. But we get to see some really bad things going on. And it was really bad, right, JT? I mean, this whole ship blows up.
Yes. The Jericho was destroyed.
Yeah, and I think they said there was 300 people on there.
Yes.
Okay, I know I didn't miss that. I just can't. I don't know exactly where it is. This is Shadrach.
It's mentioned there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So they finally did go back to it in a very, very bad way. Not bad that they did bad, but bad for the characters here. They're really getting jacked up here. And I got a little confused when I read it because it was all left panel, then right panel. So you had to read down instead of across. I got a little mixed up when I read this, that the Jericho blew up. Then I saw that Shadrach was trying to go save him.
Yeah.
I didn't. I guess that was me being a bad reader.
I did it that way too. That way too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because the big panel catches, it pulls you to the right.
It does
with your eyes. So just bad pace, not pacing, but bad placement. So we're getting back to really, really serious stuff here. Shadrach's losing his mind. Where's the Galactica? And Apollo's finally in his Viper, trying to go help out. And I guess I get a little confused here, JT. Is that Boomer? Boomer's already out there fighting. That can't be
part of the repair crew.
Well, the Warriors.
I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, they're just fighters. I'm thinking we're to rendezvous with Apollo. Apollo gives Shadrach a direct order because he has an idea. I guess these guys were just still on the Galactica. I guess they were just extra fighter pilots.
Twiddling their thumbs. I mean,
what
are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Apollo we've determined he would have already been, hey, Phantom Outsider popped in. Thank you. Always good to see you.
Yeah. Welcome, and folks, make sure you smash the like button so that way other people see the stream and we can kind of get the snowball going down the hill with people joining us this evening. That'd be great.
Yes, thank you. And subscribe if you already haven't. But I think most of the people here probably already have, and I thank you for it. Always. So this issue isn't looking good for us, is it? As far as liking it very much.
No.
I don't think it'll be the worst one, but it's not going too well. So Apollo has this idea in the middle of this fight. Okay, cool. That's all good by me. We've determined there's fighters running around for no reason. They should have already been out there, but I'm not Commander Dama, right?
I also don't know where the shuttle is coming from and going to, and in the middle of this battle.
Okay, so this part I did catch on. Apollo is flying. He gets this idea. He tells Shadrach, I've got an idea. Mm-hmm. So this is this time-space issue that you and I have with them, that they don't use time squares enough when they need to, right? So apparently he's going to go and get this from Shadrach. And in the meantime, while we read on, or as we go down here, he would have already had Shadrach get this shuttle thing ready, all within a centon. Right? So you make a good point. again, we all know, and we're not going to nitpick on how they have to do things. Although I think in the next issue,
I'm confused about what's going on right now.
right, it gets very confusing. So Apollo has an idea. He's got to call Shadrach, and they go to this freighter, Miscomachus. Miscomachus. Could they have picked an easier name?
Miscomachus?
Miscomachus. Yeah, I mean, come on. Can you just name it something? I don't know, Orion or I don't know, whatever. Miscomachus. So I thought Apollo was in his fighter. He was, right?
I think it's named for a beach in Rhode Island.
Maybe. It's funny.
Yeah. Anyway.
And so Apollo is in his starfighter. I mean, in his Viper. Jeez. I'm getting too confused now. At the Scorpion freighter, I don't know who's in the shuttle either. Do you?
No.
Okay. Does anybody?
No, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I know
And why
Apollo's
they're
in the
not just
Viper.
blown out of the sky or out of, blown to like dust in space by some Cylon raider.
Yeah. So meanwhile, okay, good. We get a time space continuum bubble square here. Meanwhile, Starbuck's stuck with Euroli on the ship, and he's really letting her know, this isn't my gig. I'm only doing this because I had to.
You know who she reminds me of? She reminds me, excuse me, of the Princess Ardala from Buck Rogers.
Yes, good one.
This speech bubble is exactly something that she would say. And this is what she was saying to Buck. Like, this is the whole just Buck Ardala thing going on right here.
Yeah, and I like what Fanti and Gap are saying. And excuse me, everybody, I can't, it's hard to pop these up because then I got to go pop back and then go back to get the scrolling side of things. But I like your Pong reference there. and Gap said the shuttle was being cleaned. So he's telling her, hey, look, you don't get it. Okay, I'm here. And then we get back to this, the characters, right? The Scavenger World characters, monster, alien people, whatever you want to call them. This big dude here. And he's like, why don't you just fry them? We like to watch them fry. Back to that again. Yeah, we get it, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fry them, Your Highness. Slugs like to watch them fry. And he's like, nah. Just let them stew a little bit. But we get an interesting plot development that might be the only thing that saves this issue for the most part. I mean, we did get a lot of action. I like that. But you remember Starbuck was locked up for a little bit, right? And
Yep.
I guess why he went down here, I guess that's just plot development. We won't know why he's just walking around, so it doesn't really matter. He's just stuck there. So he winds up back here in the gallows. And he starts hearing some weird talk for some people laying there in the lockup. And they think he's Sire Yuri for some reason. So I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. At least let's see how they deal with this. What did you think of this?
I thought it was weird that they got him confused for Sire Yuri.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would have thought Starbuck is Sire Yuri.
Doesn't look anything like him.
No, not anywhere near damn close, right? Yeah. I like your ADD comment, JT.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this dude in jail or whatever, this dude, I think it's a dude. He's in jail, and he's talking about, I was just following orders. Like, okay. And even Starbucks, like, oh, this guy's kind of space loopy, happy, whatever.
Right.
But Starbuck has an idea because he's saying things about you stole the aggro ship and you got us lost, and Starbuck catches on to what you said. Why is he saying that stuff to me? But anyway, Starbuck's like, I found something here. An interesting plot development or twist, anyway, to say the least. Because you and I have both been wondering, well, how are they ever going to get Sire Yuri? But back to the fighting in the dark, starless void.
Remember they came to a dead stop to start doing repairs. Now, Dave, I wasn't in the Navy, but if you've got a hull breach, forgive me, but it's not something you can fix in 5 minutes and then get right back into action like nothing ever happened, right?
No, if you're gonna have Adama tell you that we have to fix this, we can't go around there and then not order Apollo to get on his Viper and go help you. Obviously he does, but and then you've got Viper pilots just running around on ships. They're not out there fighting. I don't get any of that.
This is like the Last Jedi level cringe almost to me, because you've got this civilian fleet that's just getting picked off for target practice.
Right. And again, like that's an excellent point. I was saying, while everything's going on, they're just getting wiped out. We just saw only one ship. I'll just say it, man. By the time this is all done, wouldn't like most of the ships be wiped out at this point?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
At least half of them. At least half. Yeah, I know the time thing is, like I said before, I don't want to be hypocritical, but everybody knows what we're getting at. But it's an excellent point to kind of harp on. I think you and I are okay to harp on this because we didn't write it, right?
Yeah.
They could have done one panel where they're like, Adama screaming, just get it to move. We just need to move and pull off some Star Trek stuff. Just give me what I can get, right?
Right.
They could have done like this little square panel here. He's like a head flank speed helmet, all laser batteries fire at will. You could have done another one saying, just seal the hole and get us going. You know what I mean?
Right.
Would have made a little bit more sense.
They came to a complete stop to start effecting repairs. Meanwhile, the civilian fleet's just getting, blasted out of the sky like it's duck hunt here. So
yeah. And to make us feel that we're not harping, they bring it up. It says with the Galactica, her damaged hull temporarily repaired. I'm like, okay, you just had half of a Cylon base star ripped through there. Was it? I get what you're saying, and I kind of agree with you. They could have had like a little small panel kind of explaining how they did that or whatever, but their liberties are going pretty far in this issue, I would say, right? So as Phantom says, if you want them to stop, then just order them all blast shields. They're magnetic. They can activate the shields. Yeah. The only point being though, he's trying to get into go help the fleet. And Adama did the math. As long as there are 35 non-related. Yeah. You got me on that one. I just don't think their time space logic is very good with this issue. And here again, you got a Cylon blasting a Viper, so that's another Viper down. And Lucifer, who had already did kind of mention, he thought maybe they survived. So even with his ego a little bit, he's catching on that they're pretty good at getting out of trouble. He goes, oh, so they survived, but his ego kicks in again. Our time is running out. And then the next panel, JT, the guy goes, hurry up, man. Our time's running.
Yeah.
So it seems to be like a little theme, this issue of repeating back and forth. That must be their concept of dialogue humor without trying to be humorous. Tell me you're trying to be funny without being funny type of thing, right? That's the second time they've done that. Where they repeat what the other person said. The other one was, oh, we're outnumbered 10-1. And he goes, well, we're outnumbered 20-1. That kind of writing, which isn't bad. It's good. I mean, in a way, depends how you take it, right? But in the whole context of thing, it's kind of I don't know if it's supposed to be funny here when they do that. I don't know. And they did pull the Star Trek here. Doing my best, Captain Apollo. That's the last of the inhabitants have just shuttled off board. So to catch up with you saying I'm not sure what they're doing here would be the one bubble that tells you that they're getting all the people off this Miskawama. And if I Miskawama,
Right.
whatever it is,
Plus-
I'm gonna thank you. And so the idea is apparently I'm kind of catching on here what they're gonna do.
Yes, we finally get any information whatsoever.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about like Apollo is, you pretty much know what they're up to at this point for the most part. And then they just tell you the very next panel anyway. So, and I'm getting the charges now. And so now we're back to, is that Boomer? So again, you've got Viper pilots helping Apollo set up all these charges while all this stuff's going on. I don't like that at all. Do you? They're getting wasted out there, and Boomer's the only one that can help them set charges. I don't get it. It could have been somebody, right?
This isn't Boomer. This is Apollo, I thought.
Well, Apollo and Boomer right here. Boomer's to the left, I think, and then because they're doing two separate things and they're talking to each other. So if that's not Boomer, then I don't know who it is. He's wearing the uniform, so I'm just going to assume that it is because they don't tell us. The use of the Viper pilots and stuff here has been pretty bad. And Apollo's telling them, we aren't going to, Sergeant. So that's got to be Boomer because he's the sergeant. I don't know why he's not an officer, but Athena was. Did you ever catch on to that, JT? That she's a lieutenant, but she was only on the bridge. She was only bridge crew.
Right.
Before she became a pilot. He's only like a lead sergeant. Like, okay. But anyhow, it's just something I caught. Let's see. The only supply ship that Adama has towards the front of the fleet is that Alpo deck. Phantom is on fire tonight. You and Gapper are crazy. You love it. Y'all are awesome.
Yeah, huge hands.
Huge. You're too funny, man. Yeah, because we're moving out. Okay, cool.
So the ship is getting underway and they're rigging a bunch of explosives on it, right?
Yes.
And they've taken all the people off. So we can kind of piece it together that they're going to use it like a giant guided go boom type thing to take out one of the Cylon ships at least.
Yeah, and there's two of them. So Apollo's like, well, you're absolutely right. We're just going to use this ship as a missile, basically. Her age engine sputtering to life one final time. I like the little dialogue as she rumbles past the barren metallic surface of Scavenger World slowly but surely. Little drama in the bubbles. I mean, in the boxes.
Right.
So that's kind of cool that they do that. I like how they're thinking. It's not one dimensional. They're very multi-dimensional. It's just how they pull it off, right?
Right.
So I'm assuming that Shadrach here, Apollo's flying it. This old tub's going to hold together just fine, but it's not Shadrach. It's her last mission, Ensign. So there's just some random fighter pilot with Apollo here. So another fighter pilot that's on the ship, not out fighting. This is the Miskawama. I'm not even going to try. Anyone read me? Father, we're picking up a strange mission. I think it's Apollo. So this whole time, nobody's bothered to tell Adama what they're up to until they're already, but I guess it was all on the cuff anyway, right? So
right.
We can live with that. And he's like, hey, I've got this going on. I didn't have time to tell you type of thing. That's cool. That's all right by me. We read you loud and clear, whatever your name of your ship is. And good to see you back in action, Galactica, with that big ass hole in it, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
again, they could have done one little quarter panel to show them working on it. That's all I asked. That's all I was asking for.
In the Battlestar Galactica is supposed to be going to rendezvous, but yet this old freighter can somehow catch up with it from wherever it is.
Yeah, yeah, and actually take the lead on it, because it shows the Battlestar in full engine blast here. I don't know if that's that far of a distance, but I guess they have to go around the whole world again. They don't show us that, right? They never
Yep.
show us the problem with the fleet being on one side. I think either Gap or Fanty brought that up as well. You just don't know how far it takes for them to, circle around. You just have to go with it. That's all
It's a
you can
mess.
say.
Yeah.
It's a mess. It's
a
kind of a
complete
mess. Yeah, that's an excellent way to say it. And it wouldn't have taken long for them to just show us a couple things. We can't get to the fleet. I think they mentioned it last comic or the one before, JT. They didn't have a hint of distance, but it was just a hint. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm pretty sure somebody said it in one line or one box, but it's not enough. It's very confusing, because you've got these two Cylon base stars in their sights.
Base ships. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
They call them base ships in
they call them base
the
ships.
next page. Yeah.
And Apollo, I like where he does say, "Hey, I didn't have time to explain. This is my game plan." Cool. I like that. That would because you cleared up what I was saying about not telling them what's up. And he said that was part of the old FedEx fleet, JT. Yeah, father nepotism, Fanty, that Athena was a lieutenant, and Boomer's still a sergeant. But so we get back to the Cylon Whisper, and I do like where they're going back and forth, JT, that a couple of, a page or two on one side of it, page or two on it, because we get to see both sides of it, right?
Right.
And Lucifer is in command of these three ships. I really dig. If there's any positives out of this, I do like the fact, however they write it, you know what I mean, that they at least went back to see his side of it too, not just the Dama. So you get the dichotomy of it, right? If that's the proper word.
Right.
You get to see both people in action here. What do you think about these Cylons and what they're trying to do here? Do you think they're screwing up or what?
This is stupid. The second one, what? The great machine, is there no limit to human logic? Well, okay, you just sent one of your base ships to go ram and sacrifice themselves to take out the Galactica. But now when they're doing the same to you,
yeah,
how is that illogical?
It's not good, is it? Because even the Cylon says here, "I've come about and would seem to be on a collision course with our base ships." He's telling them, right? And then he loses his shit. Where did that human? What? He wouldn't have responded like that unless we all agree that what I was saying, that Lucifer does have a different type of programming, and we all agree that he does. But how far? He is still a computer. He's not. He's not the leader, inglorious leader. I call him inglorious leader, right? we know that that's an actual animal person type of thing, right? We know that Lucifer is a computer. He could be just as good as Data, and I'm just going to have to stick with it because that's all I can do to try to, like you said, deal with what he's saying here. What? It's like, what the hell? And it's hilarious because it's like, well, didn't you just, like you said, Jay, you sent that other ship into bonsai mode,
right?
Right?
Yeah.
And
yes.
And I was going to comment on it, but I was already saying too much before. If they're so tactical and they have 3 base star ships, I don't know if he would have ever used one as a bonsai. His calculations, well, we've got you sold out number. I don't need to sacrifice a base star just to hit you. We're going to just pound you until you're done. Right?
Well, part of the tactical mistake on this was, you can go clean up those other ships later. You should have sent all 3 after the Galactica. cut off
Yeah.
any angle of escape
Or just
and
one
take
after
out
another.
take out the
One.
top threat. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a veiled thin reference that only is probably coming from me to the Midway battle. I mean, not Midway battle, but to Pearl Harbor battle, where they called off the last attack and didn't
Mhm.
get any of the aircraft carriers, if you know your history, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But you're right. Human logic. He's trying to figure out. I bet he's missing Baltar now, right?
I think so. We don't see him.
Probably. They mentioned
don't
him
see
in
him.
one. They mentioned him somewhere. They did refer to him with the fun. I think at least Baltar had a sense of humor, but he's not referring to him anymore. And all raiders, like you said, all raiders converge on this Battlestar. Wouldn't you've already done that, like you said, right?
Right.
So remember, DHLU has no sense of urgency. Man, they're on fire tonight in the chat, dude. Let's see. Did anyone comment to Lucifer that in the TV show he had a sparkly forehead? Have it looks like his head was taken off with one of the Fisher Price pull toys.
Yep. Yeah.
That's funny, dude. Oh man.
So yeah. So anyway,
Go continue, please.
Back
Rip
to
away.
this.
Rip
Back
away.
to this. So, you know, the next couple shots, does the Galactic all of a sudden have shields? Apparently they do. But I get what they're trying to say here. Hold on to your present course. We've got to protect the ship at all costs. Then they get closer and closer. Almost there. Almost there.
Yeah.
Thanks for a job well done.
The art's not too bad, but the Battlestar looks just so freaking weird here. The front of that, what is that? I'm sorry, man.
Know. I don't know what this is.
I don't know what that is. I hate to be mean, but come on. I mean, we're in issue 13 now, and you're drawing the Battlestar like that. They do get redemption somewhere along the line, but I won't tell you where. But that's not good. I'm sorry. And I was going to make a comment that the art wasn't too bad with what was going on. Very, very little dialogue. There's a lot of swooping art going on. This yellow again, the swooping stuff. It looks like ribbons all over the place. Maybe it's overdone a little bit there. But you know, here we go. They're going at it like you said, and they say we're on our own, and they're down to 4 radons. I guess that's another spacing moniker. I don't know what to say.
Right.
Scanners have a Cylon radar at 9 o'clock and closing and attack speed. Okay. Yeah, I would imagine that probably would happen, like you said. And Apollo's like, no, wait. It's too soon. We're getting a little drama here. Are they going to be able to pull this off?
Who knows?
Yeah, and Cap said there's good colors here. They do a good job with red and the greens and purples and the yellows. They do. The colors are nice and vibrant. So you're thinking, JT, that what are they going to do here?
Well, they have the Cylon Raider coming after them, so they launch the escape pod.
I don't know. Is that a good idea? An escape pod is a diversionary tactic.
Well, and then right here you have the the purple ship flown by guess who? I mean, we can take one guess who took this ship, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Falcon comes in to destroy Vader's, ship, real quick.
Yeah,
I know you could do it. Let's blow this thing and go home. You know that from the Death Star trench run, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah,
exactly. Well,
yeah, I'm with you on that. I go back to this little shuttle thing. So we all have to figure out, how are they going to get off the ship? So it's obviously Apollo. There's we assume that's Boomer and whoever or whatever that third guy was. That we don't know. I don't know who that was. The ensign. He called him ensign. So we know it's not Boomer. So there's 3 of them. And we're going to have to give the Cylons a nice big target. But he says, we will fly the escape capsule. So do you really want to get all of you into an escape capsule and go up against the Raider? Right? Do you see what I'm getting at, JT? What am I missing?
We'll fly the escape capsule out of here. We're going to have to take the Cylons. We're going to have to give the Cylons a nice big target and divert their attention if we can.
Right.
But as the Cylon Raider comes in for the kill, the hunters suddenly find themselves to be the hunted.
Okay, and then
So
Starbucks
they
saves them.
abandon ship in hopes that they can divert the Cylon Raider after them and just kind of make it, big and shiny. And look at me. But they don't actually have to do anything because the Millennium Falcon comes in. So that way Starbuck Solo can save the day.
Yeah, out of
That's
the
what I'm
blue.
saying. This is
It's just
exactly
ridiculous.
the end of Star Wars, A New Hope.
Yeah, and I was so confused. I'm sorry if I'm just dumb, but hey, Tina, the Naughty Dragon's here. Thank you.
Now you see why it makes sense where I was saying it's exactly the same. Like,
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. It
they're on
comes
their
out of
trench
nowhere.
run.
Yeah, got him.
And Vader's coming up behind them. Yeah.
But they didn't know that, so they got in that capsule, and that's a diversionary tactic against the Cylon Raider. Is a capsule. You see what I mean? All 3 of them trying to escape. No, you're gonna die in that. Sorry. So they get saved by the man, right? Starbuck. And there you go. He saves them. I guess they get out of the way. We'll see. So they blow up the whole base ship, right?
They blow
with
up
that one freighter. And I'm thinking, those are some good explosives.
Yes.
Man, I mean, that's
both,
some
not just one,
plus.
both of them. Like, what did they do? Shove a bunch of nukes on this thing? And
I'm thinking,
what else?
Wow. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, what else could it be? They put like 15 nukes on this thing and just say, let's go for it. What are these explosives that the Galactica is using their little pew-pew lasers and can't, incinerate one base ship? Now they have...
Yeah, Gab, Tina, no, you are not a hot mess. You're awesome, Tina. and welcome to the chat. The chat's been freaking phenomenal tonight, as always.
Gab said the issue's a hot mess. I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah,
it is. It's a total hot mess. JT, what kind of explosives are they using to take out both of them? And how close? Their time space stuff is really, really bad. They didn't even show it. You know what I mean? How close are these base stars together that one blows up, the other one blows up? I mean, it doesn't make sense, man. Hey, oh well. And back on the Battlestar Galactica, look how bright. Well, of course, the base star blew up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now they have a shield. I would have thought that Adama, knowing what was going to happen, would have put that shield down. You know that, right, JT?
Yeah.
They have unless I'm getting my shows mixed up, they have a shield that comes down. I could have the wrong show, but now he's concerned. Apollo and her funeral pyre lights the void for the first time in millennia. So the explosion of, like you said, not 1 but 2. Jeez. And how close was the Battlestar? Like you said, remember it was going with the shuttle, or the Miscommunicamus, whatever the heck they want to call it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not even going to try to get it right.
Right.
So they're this really terrible with their time and spacing here. So there goes Apollo in the shuttle, not the shuttle, the capsule.
Yeah, the 3 guys are in the capsule, the escape
3 of
lifeboat kind of thing.
Yeah, and in most sci-fi shows, do any capsules really have enough to hold 3 people? But I digress. That's nitpicky.
Yeah.
That's nitpicky.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do. But so they eject, right? And then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get caught in the backwash of the explosion. The
Yep.
capsule's going to have its demise for some reason." And then all of a sudden, the Battlestar Galactica grows a tractor beam.
Yeah, a little James Bondish
With
here.
Star Trek.
Escapes at the last second, and Star
Yeah.
Trek, and
And
all kinds of shows. But I would have to. This is 1980, so you guys can figure out who came first, who was on first. Gap says the negative shield state of the Galactica is when the heavy metal double packet hatch shield that covers the bridge viewpoint is open. The positive shield state is when the shield is closed. Okay, good. See, that's great information. That is good stuff. So they put and Fandom said they put the charges on the Cylon. They put the explosives on the Cylon charging battery and cause an E battery flare. So let's go keep an E battery.
yep.
Yeah, so they get pulled out of there, and there's Starbuck, right? Your boy, our boy. He's the man, and he's still got his
Solo.
Yep, Starbuck
On the
Solo.
Millennium Falcon.
But he did get that dude out of there. So there's a little picture of that guy in blue and green right there. So he's thinking about Sire Yuri, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But now we got to figure out that this lady's going to be pretty pissed off. What do you think?
I think so. Yeah, not the most pleased.
So we get a little shot of a Cylon Raider hauling ass out of here, right? And I like this square right here. And again, they injecting some humor here that I've always kind of want to see, but I also know that it doesn't fit sometimes because they're Cylons. The human destroyed all three of our battleships. Lucifer,
Darth Vader's Cylon ship. His Darth, it's going off into the abyss, just like in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And after they blow up the Death Star, right? So then the humans destroyed all three of our base ships, Lucifer. This is not fun.
Yes.
No, Centurion, this is not fun. Ha 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 ha.
So we finally get the Cylon cracking a joke, JT. What I've been saying, you remember all the way back to what I was talking about before, and they finally do it. But now I'm not sure if I kind of like. I mean, I love it, but you know what I mean. For the comic's sake, it's not good, right?
She's level 10.
He's like, he should have called him a tin can here. If you're gonna do the fun, you should have known you can opener. This isn't fun,
Right.
Again, if they're gonna do this funny part with the Cylon, which I would have loved to have seen earlier, many times, and kind of glad that they didn't do it. They finally did it, so I'm happy. But they missed another opportunity to really ham it on, and they could have, because they did it anyway, right? They did it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't us hoping that they did. So I thought that was actually going to be the end of it there. It would have been a good time to move on to the next comic, but they're doing mop-up work here. So some pretty good shots of the Viper. They've been pretty good in the last few issues of drawing the Viper in action. The ragtag colonial fleet still stands, but they're like, it'll take long days. They revert back to days as time. Instead of centons or whatever else they used earlier today in this issue. I forgot which one it was. I meant to write it down. They skip around with some of their times. We don't, it's going to take days to accurately determine the number of ships and lives lost. I don't imagine, JT, that in all honesty, there probably shouldn't be a lot of the ships left. Again, we already mentioned it, but they bring it up. So anyway, they're back on the bridge. Everybody's doing okay, but we know where's Eurolive. She's going to have to show up sooner or later. We don't know if it's this issue or the next one. And then, they know, here she comes. She's already on the move, JT.
Yep. Oh,
She's
yeah.
coming to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
she's coming to get her boy. And Starbuck lets in on like, well, look what I found though. And this is like the one good bright spot. Of course, they beat all the Cylons and stuff like that, but
Quickly mop them up, just a cleanup action. Then this guy gets brought in, oh, this guy has something to say. Oh, the aggro ship was pulled away under Sire Yuri's orders. And then Adama gets, upset and puts him under arrest.
finally, right? Finally,
Yes.
he tries. So even in the
But that's
benefit
not
of
the
the
end of
doubt,
things. That's not the end of it. But
oh no,
for now, he's arrested.
Yeah,
So
he's a
then
sideball.
it kind of ends where she's saying we had a contract, we had a deal. Starbucks coming back with me to the very end. I'm getting you out of this void. I'm giving you everything you wanted. He's mine.
Yep. And she's pretty pissed. So here again would have been another good time for her to flex her muscle. She doesn't do it, at least not yet, right?
Mhm.
And then we get some basic art from them heading out. The matter's closed. Commander Starbuck will remain with me on Scavenge World. So she does get a little bit firm. She's telling him, hey, look, he's like, you're allowed to be reasonable. She's like, we're done. So you kind of wonder, is she going to like squeeze somebody's eyeballs out or what?
Right.
Let's see. All right. So we got through that one. And Phantom's right. You said the same thing. So what do we learn? Killing humans equals robot fun, and losing the humans is not fun for robots. No, apparently not. Especially when you're just a computer running around and you're like, this isn't fun. I kind of like that one only because it kind of made fun of themselves after we just made fun of them, right?
Right.
It was kind of fitting that they put that in there, but I'm kind of wondering, my sense of humor probably isn't fitting for them because they're not sentient. They're robots. So if you're gonna do it, stick with it. Anyway, hot mess for this one.
Right. So this one, would you like me to give my review?
Sure, go ahead. We can do it on
Okay.
this one, and so we don't get sidetracked for the next one. It's fine by me. We'll touch on it anyway.
So I'd like to jettison this entire comic from the series. I would give it a very, very low grade, like a D, something like that. I think the art was passable at best. Some of the other basics of a comic book. The read pattern was a mess in a lot of the different pages. We were missing critical information. But I think where this has the biggest issue is they try to make what they're calling a full-length comic, for them, the standard number of pages, entirely on space battles. This seems to me like if a 5-year-old was asked what we should put into a BSG comic, and this is what came out of it, right? There's no group of people walking through corridors and talking and having
we didn't
some
get a lot
plot
of that.
turn that way. This is just kind of like the Rogue One, like the last 45 minutes of Rogue One, like for Star Wars nerds, right? It just or a fan film kind of thing. That's what it felt like. And the fact that this whole thing was done in space, I think hurt it. And I don't think there was not that you couldn't do that and have it be good, but in this case, they did not give enough time and care to time, place, distance, scale, basic logic, those types of things, right? Yeah. So
time scale, basic logic, space, continuity.
Yeah. So I think this could have been reworked to maybe have been from a D to like a low B, something like that, right? But there just was not enough here to allow us to make it make sense without turning our brain off and just yeah. The one thing that I did like, to save it from the F, is the Urlai, or however you say her name, the villain, the redheaded villain there. She's kind of cool. I like that villain, but
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But even she, I don't think had enough. You pointed out they didn't really make her diabolical enough. So
Yeah. And you don't know if it's going to be the next issue or not, obviously, right? Because you wouldn't have read it yet.
mhm.
Uh, so they passed up on it to one, thinking maybe she'll do it later when he takes over that shuttle. However he got there, right? I guess I'm still a little confused about all that, but I'll pass all that up. And then he comes back again. At least she's being really firm about it. No, this is done. Then I thought maybe she could have put like some Darth Vader guy up on the wall from a distance, or had him like, I'm gonna crush this dude if you don't start paying
Well,
attention to me.
you
type
say that,
stuff.
but they're already so close to Star Wars in this episode. I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
you.
mean,
Yeah.
she could scramble people's brains, so she could start scrambling a couple people. She did it to Athena, remember?
Yes.
When Athena grabbed her arm, she put the smack down on her real quick. A cat fight, and it didn't last very long. And you wouldn't expect it to, because she's messing with Athena's head. I thought that they were going to do that and say, maybe you kind of. I thought she was going to talk a little smack, right? Hey, you guys aren't really paying attention to me very much here. Now, we helped you out. We made a deal, and you know what I mean? She let it go one time already, had to come back. But she straight up told him, so we'll see what happens in the next one. So what does see? Phantoms make predictions. Pulls a redhead, meanwhile. Nice, life insurance policies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you ready for the next one?
Yes, please.
All right. I'm kind of excited, actually.
To be done with that whole subplot. Yeah.
Well, the only thing that's
most part.
saving it from an F for me, and it doesn't tie into the next one, is that Starbuck found the character to tie into the Yuri thing, right?
Yep.
They did go back to that to give you something to think about, and of course they threw it at the last page anyway. So
Fair enough. Yep.
but they don't get much more for that one. And of course, I got to do my thingamabobs here. Go back, edit. Okay, it's there. Should pop up on your guys' side here in a sec. And then I have to, of course. Oops, don't want to do that. Oof. I almost did a baddie.
Oh, you are a couple pages too low.
Yeah, I've got to
Scroll up.
go get the page back. Where did it go? Sorry. Just a second, guys. And I'll do my scroll
up. Yep. There
scroll up to see if it goes. It should come on the YouTube's side here in just a second. I had it on that page for a reason. I forgot to scroll back up.
Right.
Wow, sorry, I'm drinking water. I'm just doing all this talking. Well, all right. And I forgot to point out one thing to you on the splash page before. They stopped doing that little monologue. I don't know if it was on this one or the next one. I'll show you
Not
what I mean.
necessarily needed either.
No, not anymore. I like it because it's so classic to the TV show. I love that. Every time I read it, I hear the voice. I kind of like that nostalgia. But you hit that on the head. So
I'll say this right now. This cover. This is such a toxic cover. This is such a toxic cover. Now, see, if this were two women on the cover and it was 2024, you'd be accused of just being misogynist and toxic. But if we put two men on the cover, you show their behinds, then it's totally okay. It's totally okay. I also am already triggered heavily because it has
go for it.
You know what I'm gonna say. I think the chat does too. It's got my two least favorite characters that if this is gonna be a boy and his robot dog comic, I'm like, okay. We're done here. We're done. So I'm not buying this one at the store. I'm not buying this one at the comic shop. Yeah. I'm not buying this at the comic shop. Oh no, he's in danger. He went into deadly radiation. Good for him.
Yeah,
Good for him.
One credit. I won't say if it's a good thing or not. It's up to you as a reader, if you've paid attention to what JT and Mark and all of us have said about the covers, normally they would have that offbeat kind of theme quote, right, of what's coming up, right? They haven't been putting it on. Oh, I lost my. Hold on. There we go. Sorry, guys. They've been putting it on either the splash page or later or not at all. So yeah, if you've noticed what they do, they tell you what the theme is on the cover. If you really, really look at it, you don't have to look at this one that much to know what you just said is going to be 100% true.
Yes.
So get ready, JT.
Right.
And then
So this page we already kind of know. So they handed off Starbuck. This is like right immediately after. She has some beautiful outfit on. I don't know how we can get people to go back to dressing like that, but hey, there you go.
Yep.
He says, "I'll never forget them." Oh, and she says, "Oh, you
Dad
will.
Man.
You will."
Sorry, Dad Man popped in.
Hey, Dadman. So she says, "Besides, I can comfort you far better than the memories of them ever could." I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes, pump the brakes.
If that's the least toxic, remember the bed issue that we talked about, I won't get into it
She's
with one.
like, I can do things that we can't talk about on YouTube, and that will make you forget your friends and family.
I'm gonna throw it on you, buddy.
That must be a really good time then, huh? Like,
yeah, it's like a little 8-9-year-old kid reading this, asking, "Hey, mommy, what is she talking about?" Oh, don't worry about that. It's okay.
Yeah. No more of this comic book. We're gonna put it up here on the shelf for when you're older. Yeah, exactly.
Nevertheless, the frying part that I am always going to harp on that. And then the one issue with Commander Adama jumping off the moving thing onto the skywalk falling. You remember that issue? You weren't. You missed that one. I went off for 15 minutes about that one. He's not freaking Spider-Man or Nightwing or whoever. But
now that we're blushing,
he
on the
does
very
tell
first
her
page of this comic, right?
Yeah, it's a weird placement because of the next one. I don't know if this was a mistake or not, but he does tell her to give Starbuck credit, the character himself. He does have some. He's a good guy deep down, right? For the most part, right? He does have some morals, and he just straight up tells her he doesn't have a problem telling her you don't get it. Again, I keep trying to tell you they might not mean anything to you, but they mean everything to me, and that's pretty cool. So at least that, and he goes, memories. He seems to be resigned to his fate here.
Real quick, Gap After Dark has to head out.
Okay.
We'll watch the rest of this later, and gave us a great review. So thank you much, Gap, and sleep well.
Yes, and have a great night. Thank you so much for coming by and supporting me. I appreciate it. You're great, also, as always. Oh, there we go. All right. Thank you so much. And JT, oh my gosh, look at this. What do we have here?
This is finally, we're getting back to some good stuff here.
Oh my God.
It's a double page too, isn't it?
Travolta. Oh my God.
This is a double page.
A double page of what should have been in the first issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And it's actually looks good.
Yeah. It weirdly doesn't have a triangle head on it like an arrow. Yeah, that's like detached from the midsection anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the viewports and stuff on the top are a wee bit red, but I don't care. Right here, this is the best one we've gotten on this grand scale, with them going from the void to the outer void. I mean, back into regular space from the void. But you can't read the box. Can you read those? I can't. I can't.
I can read them,
blow
but
it.
I'm zoomed in. I'm zoomed in a little bit.
I'm zoomed in, but I want
Galactica
to.
log. So they are maybe
zoom in
Star Trek in here a little
more.
bit. Galactica log 135 Mark 9 addendum. Today, after so very long, we have left the shifting, all-encompassing blackness of the great void and returned to the stars.
There we go.
They stretch before us like an ocean of sparkling jewels, as far as the eye can see. And one of them may be the single star we seek, the shining beacon that will light our path to Earth and sanctuary. All we have to do is find it.
Nice.
Maybe not my best reading, but you have JT Kirk reading the captain's log here. Anyway, so
Well, that man's
it's only fitting
asking.
I read it right. It's JT Kirk, and they ripped a page off of Star Trek here. So
Yeah, well, definitely. And you could always use this splash page as the end of the whole thing too. That man is asking if why is there only a wing hanger on the starboard side and not on both? Do you want to handle that? On both sides.
they didn't draw it.
They didn't draw it on this one. You wouldn't see it. You would maybe only see the top of it, but they do have landing bays on both sides.
Yes, they do have them on both.
Yeah, the ship does. If you're just Dad, man, if you're talking about the drawing, the actual drawing, welcome to the club. This is the best you're gonna get right here so far of the full page Battlestar Galactica.
Now, maybe in the TV show they only leave out of the starboard one. I think that's probably for money and reusing the footage.
I don't know. I mean, that man might have a point here. I'd have to go back and look, but in reality, it's supposed to be on both sides in case one gets damaged. Right? You've got both sides. So everybody's celebrating, and I finally get my monitor shot here that I might have missed. There's a TV monitor showing them as well as they're going out, so I get that. And they're all having fun. A little awkward moment between Athena and Ty here. She calls him out for being romantic.
With a weird face.
Yeah.
She has a weird face in this.
Yeah.
What's with the mouth?
Just weird stuff.
Yeah.
So Dad Man asked him how they move them from the hangar to the launch tubes. I think they have the loaders push them in or something like that. Yeah, so she called, I don't know, there's a little awkward moment there. Colonel Ty showing a little non-serious side for a change, which is very rare. He does every now and then. He will, but he's always, prim and proper for the most part, right? And then he gets a little embarrassed himself there, JT, and calls her lieutenant.
Yes.
And
then Ty says, "Yes, sir. That void was immense." And then Adama says, "That's your mom's void was." I mean, wait, what? Huh?
Yeah, I mean, they went into this little romantic, little bit of a weird thing between these two, and then he goes, "It's been a long time, Colonel." I was like, "You should put a question mark there." What are they doing? I'm with you, dude. I caught on to it. It's not because we're dirty old men. They wrote it this way. That's exactly the way it came off. Because he's like, well, that was a void. And he's like, okay. Enough of that.
Yeah. So he's saying, "Oh, spirits are high again. Cool. We're going to a celebration on the rising star. I feel like celebrating, but I'm worried about Boxy."
Yeah, but it's
because plot needs to be worried about Boxy.
Yeah, and not Starbuck. I mean, obviously, we know we'll get back to it, but they're immediately having fun. I guess everybody knows that he's stranded there. But like you said, he's worried about the kid. I'm not too sure
I got a question for you. If you scroll back up one little bit.
Sure.
Just a little bit higher. The one next to Boomer, is that a man or a woman?
I was thinking you were going to the purple-haired viper
It's
dancing
no, it's a woman's
long.
body with a
Oh, the right
mustache.
panel. The right
Yeah,
panel.
yeah.
Looks like a female body.
But they have a mustache, it looks like.
Yeah, the art is not good here.
Yeah.
Their choices are back to being mediocre to not good. You know what I mean? We're kind of used to it, but it's weird. It's their choices, JT, that gets us right. On
Yeah. Well, and then so if you look down in the next pane there, the next cell, maybe later, Broomer, I've got a few things to do first. Then all of a sudden, it is clearly a woman without a mustache and now has an afro.
Yes. They're just the art is just not consistent in this series at all.
Right.
Not at all. I mean, we've seen really good face shots occasionally to mediocre that we know that that's just what they could do, to absolute, like the yellow guy way back on the planet type thing with the torches and stuff. Remember those guys?
Yep.
So yeah, you nailed it from the beginning. This is going to be a boxy episode, man. But you're like, what the heck? What's going on with Sire Yuri? That's what I'm thinking. You had this great splash cover page, not the cover, but splash page. And now we're like, uh-oh, the cover did warn us, didn't it?
Yes. Now this here, when he walks in, he says, "Hey, do you want to go to a party?" To this little kid. I'm like, you know what kind of party this is going to be?
Wait, JT.
This is not a little kid's birthday party. Why are you trying to bring a kid to this?
Yeah. Phantom caught something that I did not catch. Look what Boxy's holding in his hand. I did not catch that. So props to Phantom, outsider. You caught that. I did not catch that. Did you, JT?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So Phantom says Boxy with his framed Starbuck pick doing the meme before there were memes. And then before I missed it, he goes, "Yeah, Adama, I saw you hitting on my daughter." About Colonel Ty, Commander Ty, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I did not catch that. That is that's Uncle Starbuck to you, right, JT?
Right, exactly.
So he
calls him Dad already,
and he's calling Apollo
won't
Dad.
be there.
Yeah, let's get down out of that one. Of course, Apollo can't stay. He's got to go. I'm not sure where, but anyway, I must have missed that. And then actually not a bad face shot of Boxy here and his box cut, his face bowl. I don't know what you call that, square cut, haircut. And then here we go, JT. What's he say here in this little right panel?
"I'm going to find Starbuck and bring him home."
You're like, oh boy, here we go. You're right, JT. This is going to be your fan. I'm a Daggett fan though, so I'll take 50-50 on this. But we'll need a Viper. And you're like, okay, all right. So we get a page, a half page of him talking to Muffy, and Muffy's like, "I'm not going." Okay. And then he decides to go.
Oh, that's a nice way to treat your dog.
Yeah, I'll just go by myself. What he calls him, a stupid Daggett? Yeah.
Yep.
And Batman's like, "I'll never look at Athena again after that shot." I say, wait till you go back and see the original Jolly shot that I went completely bonkers over. Remember that, JT?
Yes.
How horrible! Oh my God, that was the number one worst. I think they redeemed themselves, but it was like two issues later. That was horrific. So let's get away from you for that, so you don't have to look at that anymore, JT.
Thank you.
I was trying to read Phantoms.
Yuri's on. Yes. He says he's going up on a council tribunal for the charges that Adama's put against him.
Yep.
Don't know the exact trial start time, but soon it'll take weeks to gather evidence.
Yeah. Yuri calls for a quick trial here. So he knows what he's doing. Like you said, it's not over yet, right?
Yeah.
So he's calling for a quick trial, knowing I need a lot of evidence. But I'm kind of a little confused there. What more evidence
The
do you
defense
need?
doesn't get to just say, no, I want to do a trial in 2 minutes. Right. Even if you have a right to a speedy trial, you can still put in a motion and start subpoenaing records and
Yeah,
all this other stuff to try
yeah,
to slow it
absolutely,
down.
absolutely.
So
A
you know,
trial in
who
less than a
cares?
centon makes no sense to me.
Right.
Less than a centon, and what they don't do, JT, is do they tell you what the law says? That it has to be prepared within a certain amount of time. They don't do that, right? They could have easily have just said, make something up,
Right.
right?
Right.
Just make something up, man. Jim Shooter said, just make something up. Make it like 2 centons. They don't tell you for whatever reason. Slimeball is up to his tactics, but Adama has an interesting moment here, I would say, right? Well, let me backtrack just a second. Now, Adama tells Apollo the only possibility of conviction we have now is to find Medea, his second in command. That's the lady, right?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. I know the answer to this, but I'm just going along with the comic here. But didn't Starbuck just bring back a guy who can testify to the
Yes.
fact that they stole the ship? So,
Yes.
JT, you see what I'm getting at here? I'm getting a little irritated with what they're with these last 2 issues. Is it just me?
No, I get you. I get you. 100%.
I don't understand why they would say things like the only way is to find her. But Starbuck just brought a main witness who actually took the ship.
Right.
Okay.
The aggro ship logs wouldn't be there
Yes.
that saying we're doing this on orders from
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so then
he has a little
Adama
spell.
starts to have a little spell. Yeah, what's wrong? I'm just tired. I'll rest in you as soon as you found Medea and after we found Earth. Um, what was it
And
I recalled in the memory machine? The ancient inscription read, "Third from the sun."
so now we get JT, and I might be harping here a little bit, but let me see if I'm on track, at least with you in the chat.
Mhm.
He came out of the memory machine okay, right? There hasn't been any dialogue with anybody as to what he's recalled or not at all until
Correct.
now. I get
Correct.
it. I get it.
Apparently.
That's not what I'm harping on because they just went through this whole battle, right? That would be
Yes.
nitpicking. But now they have some time to settle down because he's sitting at the desk, they're talking, and he doesn't know what. You see what I'm saying? He hasn't
Right.
recalled anything from the memory machine. So now I
Right.
guess we find out here, right? And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, wow, that's dragging it out a little bit, right? I guess maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
But he does write down a kind of cool thing, third rock from the sun thing, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to bring
got
that
what
up
you meant.
there.
Took me a second. I got what you meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then a few microns later, this is cool because then we get a close up of his face,
Yes, this
Apollo's
is a good
face.
one. Good
And
one.
so, you get to see him thinking while he's actively doing something, which I feel like is how we as people kind of reflect and do stuff. But you get into his mind in just one shot, but he's also moving somewhere too. So it's a good transition from the previous scene in the commander's office / quarters into the Rising Star, right? So
Yeah.
we're heading over to the Rising Star, which Dave, what do you think? I love this ship
Yeah,
compared to
the art
what we've
here,
seen.
the art here is what I would call some of the matches some of the best, right? That headshot of Apollo is excellent.
Mhm.
You know, you get a background shot of the Galactica way off in the distance, which isn't half bad. It's pretty good. So they try. I like when they try, at least, right, with these angles and stuff. It shows us again, that they think about these kind of things. And I love that about the writers and producers and the artists, right? That they at least try with the concepts in this. The Rising Star looks great here.
Yes.
With Apollo kind of smoking in like that. They always need to have that trail.
Right.
Yeah, I liked it. It's better than what we just seen before. But back to your favorite.
Meanwhile, back on the Galactica. I can't get in. Oh, we're just gonna run this way because there's nobody on the ship in a high security area.
Yeah. So danger, authorized personnel, he just goes anyway. And like you said, there's nobody around because they're all at the party. Okay. After all the damage that they took, right?
Right.
That's temporary. I know it sounds nitpicky, but it really isn't. I mean, the concepts of what they're doing.
There would always
again,
be somebody in that flight bay on that hangar deck, doing. I'm sure all these Vipers need to be massively repaired, and even if some people went to the Rising Star, you didn't empty out your entire military vessel when you've got all the damage and then all the flight repairs that need to be done. There will be someone there.
Look, you run the military, you run all these kind of ships on a 24-hour rotation basis, whether you're short of people or not. And you're absolutely right. There's going to be, even if he was like sleeping in the corner and or guarding the door that just says nobody past this point, there would have been at least some kind of third guy who got the crap shift and couldn't go to the party, right?
Right.
I totally agree with you there. But I guess they got to move the plot along for this issue. So Apollo goes to the party because Commander Adama actually sent him over there to find Medea.
So he goes to the party anyway.
Yeah.
Without Boxy.
Yeah.
Who's looking after Boxy? He's a minor.
Nobody.
He's a minor. So he doesn't. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay.
You mentioned this a couple of times, right? They just let the kid run around wherever he feels like it. With no guardians anywhere, not just even close by, but anywhere.
Yes.
Doesn't make too much sense, but everybody's partying. But you would think, like we said all along, you always know what happens when they have a good time, right?
Phantom Outsider. This was the 70s with free range kids, no child proof caps. This is where the Boxies of the universe usually don't make it to high school.
Right. They get in that 80 Camaro T-top. And bad things happen. So Apollo's looking for this other character, even though they have one character witness. You always want to solidify the case because this lady would solidify the case, right? So we know why they're going after her. It didn't make sense that they were saying that was the only way. It's like they forgot about what Starbuck had done. Apollo gets hit on in the hallway. Okay.
Yep.
I'm all right. Okay. It's just a total random girl hits on him while he's
looks like a socialator. Yeah.
I was hoping somebody would come up with that. I wish I had wrote that. Tried to find the notes of what they called her, Cassiopeia, dirty socialator. It was really rough. They were pretty mean to her back then, remember?
Yeah.
Now I'm a little confused about this right here. Apollo's on this. Is this a flashback in his head? He's on. Okay, they're having the meeting with Yuri now. That's what's happening, right? The council. They're trying him now because he said, okay, right, because it was less than a centime. Well, what is less than a centime? By the time he flew to the other ship, it's already less than a centime. So it's like, okay, he could have just said, no, man, we're having the damn trial this afternoon, like in an hour. So I guess a less than a centime is like less than an hour, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that was really, really fast. Like he just barely got over to the ship. He gets distracted by this lady hitting on him, and now he's just kind of standing there. And it's the thought bubble, right? That's I get
Mhm.
that. And then you get the guys talking, the council talking at the trial with Adama, and then you've
Yeah,
got
but
people.
but yeah, so they're doing that up on the top, but then
Okay,
what he is looking at is the green crowd.
okay, okay. So it's not like a
So
room they're in. I was a little confused.
the top one is like a parallel discussion, like just to try to show you that the council is meeting in fractious, but he himself, Apollo, is looking at this, I guess, mob or soon to be mob, this crowd of discontented folk.
Yeah, and it's good to finally see that I was complaining and bitching about that nobody was turning on this guy. They finally, well, the people who didn't have food who found out the truth, they're going to turn on him, right?
Yes.
But finally, count some other council people maybe, and then like a huge crowd in Phantom City, the
Huge.
huge insurance policy on Boxy. That's hilarious, dude. Gap, Gap would have loved that, and he had to leave. That was hilarious. Dad man
Right.
too. We were tougher in the 70s. Yeah. Um, well, they catch this. They catch Medea. Apollo didn't catch her. I guess these people grab her.
Yep.
And this witch, that's a good one. This witch is just as guilty he is. And it's like and I guess that's like it's Medea, and these people are in an ugly mood. Okay, it's a thought bubble instead of
Yeah.
speech bubble.
Hmm.
She's begging for mercy, and they're like, "Screw you, you're
Now I
starving
laughed
us." And
at the next cell here. Let's
yeah,
have our own trial. Okay. Why bother? Just cancel her.
oh,
So
wow.
somehow they teleported like 50 years into the future. We're
Sure,
gonna
right.
cancel her on social media. We're not gonna bother with the trial. Let's
I
just
mean,
cancel her.
they don't want to use the word kill or anything like that,
Right, right, right. I
but
know.
they'll show a ship blowing up with 300 people in it, right?
Yeah.
It's it.
They're
Pick
a
your
bunch of
path.
cancel pigs,
Yeah,
Dave. They're
pick your
just a bunch
path.
of cancel pigs. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very interesting choice of words. I immediately pointed it out to myself, and I know you were going to do the same. And they're actually telling Apollo to get out of the way, so they're in full on lynch mob now. These people. You would have thought again, JT, that they're having this huge trial and they don't even have any sheriff's sitting around, sheriff's
Right.
deputies sitting around. Although this guy in uniform up here in the red looks kind of official, but he's part of the mob.
Mhm.
Apollo's here by himself. There's no security. It just doesn't make sense, JT. Right?
Right.
There's nobody there to help him. Hey, you guards, grab her and I'll take care of the crowd and anyway, that's probably me working in courts for all those
It's
years.
I don't
But it
have it.
doesn't
I
make
don't
any
have
sense.
a problem with it, but yeah, it is a little weird. Although she was trying to hide, so it would make sense that maybe the cops weren't there.
Yeah. And but at the trial itself, there's like nobody there. And Apollo wasn't even there originally. He just he wanders in running after her. A little
And they
nitpicky,
we just
but
want her for 5 minutes. Oh, okay. Because he'll say yes to that.
yeah, like that's gonna change his mind. And they're brutal. We're gonna cancel her. Just give us 5 minutes. And if she was on the other planet, you know what they would have said, right? Let's fry her.
Yeah.
Let's fry her up. We love a good fry bake. That's what he would have said. They did say that. So he gives her a choice. You come with me or you can stay.
Right.
Right, Fandy. He's the only one with a gun. Yeah, I mean, he is the only one with a gun. That's what I've had. They had nobody there posted up, and this is a huge trial, right?
Right.
I got a little backtrack or a little weirded out by some of the dialogue. I got a little confused. There is no party. Captain Q, the tribunal will learn the Captain Q. There's a captain called Q there. QUE, I guess.
Oh, looks like Dadman's headed out.
Oh,
He's gonna go camping tomorrow. So
yes,
Dadman, get
yes.
some great sleep. Tell the missus that Dave and I
He's
say
glamping.
hello. Yes. Yeah. Tell the missus we said hello, and you both go enjoy a nice, well-deserved vacation.
Yes, yes. Have a good glamp. You're going to have to let us know how roughed up you are out there, and be careful of wiping with certain leaves. That's an inside joke.
Reference
from
from
the other day.
last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reference from last
Yeah.
night. So I don't know who Captain. Thanks, that man. I appreciate it, brother.
Captain Q,
Captain Q. Yeah, QUE.
like as
So
in
yeah.
get in line.
Well, and then he says, just take your time, Captain, and try to remember if you were in any way connected with Sire Yuri. And so what I was saying is what happened to the Starbuck guy, right? And apparently this has to be him, the one that Starbuck freed from prison, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this has to be him. So because we know he brought him on board. Now, why Urali must have forgot to take him back with Starbuck, obviously. So this has to be the guy. And this is a major character witness that I have problems with him saying that the only person was. This is a major character witness.
No, I don't know if this guy's anything, because he's trying to tell him, say if he's any way connected, and then the other two guys are whispering, saying that it's obvious that he has no connection to testify, and that's exactly what Sire Yuri's banking on, saying that Yuri was hoping for such a quick trial that they're not actually going to be able to prove these charges, so that way he can get off on them.
Yeah, and now this guy's playing dumb, and that's what Yuri was banking on. So you get some answers here in the left quarter panel. Although the way that guy was acting when Starbuck found him, you would have thought he would have turned on Sire Yuri as soon as he got the chance. He left them all hanging, right? But that's not what happened, and it looks like it's going Sire Yuri's way. This dude is acting like he doesn't know anything, and Yuri jumps all over it, and he's trying to get it finished, like you said, JT. He's trying to get this done. And let's dismiss all this crap. This guy's a joke or whatever. He's trying to impugn my character. I don't. Okay, I mean, I know what that means. I don't know what a 10-year-old would know, but
right.
They're going back to highfalutin words, but that's fine. It's a good choice from Sire Yuri. You would expect that because he's talking to the council, so he's trying to act all, political and use whatever language he needs to get out of his problems. But then he starts acting like an a-hole again. Do I need to step forward? And I did. He's telling everybody, look what I did. I did this and I did that.
This kind of gets into a weird issue that we've had in recent politics, right? Where people were trying to go after a former top official. And I'm going to try not to get too political with this, but the Supreme Court said that you have qualified immunity when you're the leader of the country. You can't be sued or,
unless
put on
it's
trial
like a
for
murder.
things. Yeah. Well, yeah, but you have to be impeached and removed from office, which is the official mechanism. And so to put Yuri on trial for these types of things, he makes that kind of same argument, like, didn't I step in and didn't I at great personal risk get the insurrection gone? And, I did all these other official acts as the leader. Now you're going to try to get me on stuff. So it almost makes you say, like, well, Yuri's probably going to win this because
and I'm getting mad at Adama here because remember I mentioned before, and Phantom is right in the chat as well about priorities, that Adama doesn't jump up and say, oh yeah, you remember when you agreed with me about the aggro ship and all that and made it seem like you weren't involved? Then who was? There's the pilot right there. And how convenient that the pilot's forgetting all of a sudden. How do you remember when when you tried to blow up the memory machine, Yuri? He doesn't do any of that stuff. So I'm like, what's Adama doing, man? You gotta. But anyway, right?
Right.
Moving the plot along, like you said, and yes, Phantom, he does look like the Kingpin. Back to your boy here. So we do run into Shadrach and the guys that we were talking about. There should have been a lot of people there, but they're all way inside. Nobody guarding the door. Shadrach would have told somebody, nobody gets in here without me or prior authorization and in proper uniform, equipment. So I'm trying to get out. Sorry. So you're right. He gets way too far into this, to that all of them are wearing this equipment.
Yep.
And I'm building up on a rant, by the way. So if you haven't reread this, I'm going to tell you, just get ready for yourself as well. It might actually match my Adama rant from a few issues back.
So the dog, of course, barks because he would.
He would.
Sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, oh, we have to go chase you. This is a restricted area. And have Captain Apollo contact me at once. So
yeah,
he automatically identifies who it is.
Uh-huh.
He
but
knows
what does he
it's
do
Foxy.
here in this red panel? What's he doing, Shadrach?
Come back here. This is a restricted area.
But he's not even chasing him.
Right.
He doesn't even bother to chase him. He's in equipment. Jesus Christ, I got to get this kid. And just backtrack just a little bit, JT. Yeah, Phantom is on our side here. When Adama could have took the time and said, you remember when you were hoarding all the food? Yes, good one. And letting people starve and all that. And just a bunch of different things that they could have done at that point. Well, let's see if they bring it up later, but because this is getting worse than that Shadrach doesn't even chase this kid. He could have caught him in like 20 feet. Don't you think? Well,
yes.
Shadrach, he's looking pretty buff there, right? Let's face it, right? Shadrach's didn't he punch somebody, or was that another character? He's a badass.
He's got the superhero legs. He could run.
He held up one of the guys, whether it was Starbuck or somebody in the space airport. Remember the space dock or whatever? I remember that now. He picked up, and so he's a jack dude. He could have caught him, but he didn't. And he's carrying a pistol. Did you catch on to that?
I caught it. Yeah.
I'm like,
I don't know why.
Yeah, not in that situation. There's no reason for you to be. I guess he's security detail too. He does a lot. But he doesn't chase after the kid when he should. Anyway, move the plot along, right? So back to the trial. Let's see what they do, guys. Let's see what happens here.
They're reading the verdict, which you can't just interrupt reading of the verdict. If the verdict has already been written, you don't get to just stop the trial and wind it back, because they've already gone away and deliberated, and the jury or the council has decided on a verdict. You don't just, it's like saying, oh, well, if somebody pulls the fire alarm in the courthouse during your sentencing, like, what? No, it doesn't mean you don't go to jail. It just means that you leave the room for 5 minutes and come back. So
if the verdict would have been like that, then the judge will have to call another trial, which they could do another trial based on further evidence, unless you want to try double jeopardy, but that would be up to the judge and stuff like that, right? That's the council. And Adama's just sitting there, my man. Adama, come on, right? You got to say something, yeah. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll stop the trial. Oh, Vanty says this is TV law. JT Kirk, last minute evidence is a thing. Oh, I forgot. This is TV law.
Yeah. TV comic book adaptation law.
Yes.
Where nobody in the council stands up for Adama again. again.
Yeah. So
It infuriates me.
so they get Medea in here, and Medea somehow agreed to testify. We don't know how she was made to testify or agree, but she just does, I
Because
guess.
she could have clammed up as soon as like the other guy.
Yep. And so, as Sayuri listens in growing horror, Medea tells the tribunal of his role in the theft of the aggro ship and subsequent attempt on the Commander Adama's life. And he kind of looks like a conehead in that one.
Yeah, the conehead from Saturday Night Live. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
This guy's got the worst haircut in the world. Just go ahead and shave the sides off, dude.
Yeah,
Here
dude.
on the bottom,
Like,
just shave the sides off. Come on. I mean, you're like in a 1984 Camaro IROC Z, and you don't even have a mullet. You'd be better off with a mullet, dude.
yeah.
You know, come on. Yeah, I rock the
It
mullet
would
with a
help him
Camaro.
if he had just a mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. And after all of that, with everybody sitting there, the captain of that ship, nobody presses the captain of the ship to tell the truth. They just let him clam up. She shows up, doesn't clam up, like you said, JT, and Phantom is talking about it. And then it's like, oh, they found him guilty. Okay. And he's like, this is a mockery of justice, whatever, dude. We all know you're guilty anyway.
You'll
But they
pay
did
for this, Adama. You'll pay for this.
Yeah. Just get him out of here. So Apollo shows up, and Shadrach tells him that, it's about Boxy, your son, that he's got to get into equipment to go back there, but Boxy's been back there the whole time. But he's like, oh, we can still get him. We're searching. Thought you'd like to be here, of course. And they're explaining that the whole cooling system is damaged in that area, right?
Yes.
And you have to have the suit on. He's already made him put the suit on. Everybody else has the suit on. I think Apollo gets it now. All right.
Yeah.
So
and yell out a yell if you see anything.
Yeah,
because they don't have communications equipment in these suits. No, nope.
Buddy Hepburn got us, dude. Look what it says about Vicini's haircut. That's hilarious, dude.
And if I sound a little funny, folks, I am getting over a chest cold here, so I'm not smoking 30 packs of cigarettes a day or anything. This is just a chest cold kind of laugh. So thank you for bearing with me. Apologies if it sounds bad. So
you're a warrior, dude. You're a warrior.
I can't reach the mute button when chat makes me laugh like that. Sorry.
And then Phantom chimes on his dress, not dress, but his actual dress.
He's got kind of like monk.
Well, at least he's dressing
a thing going on
appropriately. So I don't want to get in trouble here. You know what I mean? I guess that's the best.
Yep.
At least he's all right. Wait a minute, I went too far here. Hold on, because this is where I start to lose it. I should go to the bathroom now. Let you hang on for just a minute, but should we power through this?
Yeah, we're almost done.
We're almost done. But I'm gonna go ballistic here in a minute. I'll be calm. I'm not gonna go on an as rant, but here we go. You ready, JT?
Yes.
Okay. All right. They're all geared up in all their clothes and stuff. And I thought he already went through one door, Boxy, right? But this is the door that leads to the everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
The hell. They say hell. Not me. They do. And this is the door that nobody's standing around.
There's no warning sign either. There's no lock on the door. There's no like caution, radiological symbols, nothing.
If
nothing
the worst
at all.
place
it's just
is
a walk-in freezer door.
Thank you. He just pulls it open, and it's the last door to the furnace. I would just call it the blast area. And if anywhere this kid would go that would do him the most damage, none of them who have the suits on went to that door to go to that door. Nobody thought of it. right, JT?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
it's moving the plot along is one thing. Being really, I don't want to say insulting to us, but this is bad, right? That's
Yes,
the
this
last
is bad.
door, and
This
there's
is bad.
nobody there.
Yeah.
But
Not even a
with the kid on the
not
loose
even a
now.
keypad or, a badge swipe or
Yeah. Now
it no.
I get it if they didn't know the kid was out and about and loose and he snuck there somehow. That's they didn't even do that. They
Yeah.
know he's on the run.
Phantom Outsider, great point. There's no inner door or outer door. You open it and boom, radiation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Phantom and everybody else, it's like I'm just beginning on this one, man. If you know the kid's on the loose and you're already in the suits, what's the worst that could happen? That kid goes through this door. So nobody sends anybody to this door.
Right. Right.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. And they said
Yeah,
it
there
hell.
should be
This is
some
a
type of
second.
air gap in here. Definitely. Yes.
Yeah. You're not going to open that up into the next one, or there would have already been that room on the outside of that door and not on the inside of that door, right?
Well, right now I'm starting to get really happy because Boxy is about to get, a nice triple helping of radiation, and he's going to start doing a Spock here real
Yeah.
soon from Wrath of
Yeah.
Khan.
Hold your
Right.
beer on that one. So they bring up hell again, the second time, a man-made hell of turbines and pistons and Tillium-powered star drives that are the very heart and soul of Galactica. And the kid's on the run and nobody's there. Okay, well, I've established that numerous times. And it hits them, JT, Phantom, everybody.
Mhm.
It just blasts them with this heat and everything. And he's like, oh my gosh.
If you almost immediately collapse and start sweating from radiation, you already received a lethal dose.
Yeah, and
I'm
he
just going to
says
point that out.
something's wrong with the shielding. Okay, but I have to go on for Starbucks' sake.
Because this is where they keep the
d-
Vipers? Question mark? Like, how dumb of a kid? Anyway.
It makes no sense, man. It just makes no sense. Even Boxy's saying, "Oh, geez, God, I gotta go on. Go on where? Where are you gonna go? He needs me. Uncle Starbuck needs me. Okay, kid, we Boxy, we understand, but what did you just say, JT? About the Vipers?
Oh, yeah, because, this is where they would naturally keep the Vipers is.
So now you see why we warned you. This
Yeah.
is ridiculous. He wouldn't even go there, would he? Oh
No.
gosh, I
No.
apologize if I'm going off too much already, but what you just said is so profound and correct. That's not
He
even
will.
like Foxy
he-
knows where the damn hangar is.
right. And the heat is unbearable even for a warrior. Well, I thought it was the radiation that was unbearable, but I
Yeah,
guess
well, he's not
either
thinking.
one.
Yeah, the radiation's something that Boxy wouldn't be thinking about, but he knows it's the heat. Well, he says the shielding's down, so maybe he does. And then the box says,
So
and the
take two
heat.
steps back out the door
Nope,
and
he
walk
goes.
back.
He goes in.
Mm,
He goes in, JT. And he
yes.
goes, and the heat reaches out like a living thing, slamming Boxy back, nearly knocking him off his feet. But he's so tough, this little kid, that he actually gets in a couple feet, not too far, but he gets in a couple feet. Actually, a
He,
few
he,
feet.
he, he
A few
shouts
feet.
out King Kong ain't got shit on me and keeps trying to keep going.
Yeah, there's the thing you said. The heat is unbearable even for a warrior. Sorry, I didn't catch up to
Oh,
you.
yeah. Yeah.
And they
And
admit that.
certainly, mhm,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, and certainly for a confused little boy. I don't know if confused is the right word to use here,
Well,
but we'll
confused
go with it.
if we bag on the riders for not saying he didn't go to the hangar bay, like he knew where the Vipers were in the first place, just like you said, JT.
Right.
Uh,
He'll
Jesus
be
Christ, man.
dead in a matter of centons, the blood boiling within his veins.
Wow, blood boiling in this comic. Okay, can we just say this comic? It's not for kids, right?
No, it's not.
Can we
No,
finally just get it out and say it? The frying, the sex in the window, the death, and all this. This is for what? 10 and above, 13 and above? I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
have kids like
I
you.
don't know, but
Would you
I
let
guarantee you,
a
an
7-year-old
should
read
not
this?
no.
Okay.
Don't.
Blood boiling with. I mean, I love the writing, but if Mark was here, oh my God, we would be crushed. I mean, we're going to crush this anyway with us in the chat. But Mark, you know, he would probably just destroy this. I'm going to too. But so he makes it a few feet, and I guess he falls toward the door, head first that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Muffy comes out, and you figure, oh, Muffy's going to save the day, right?
Right.
Okay, get ready some more. Well, he comes out there. Muffy comes, and almost at once the plastic fur begins to smolder, and singed lubricant flows from his synthetic exoskeleton.
So,
God,
this would be a
help me.
flame retardant fur, plastic fur.
No, apparently not.
Even like any type of plastic that you or I could think of, it's smoldering. How hot is this where Boxy's not already dead and like cooking
Keep going.
cooking like a pig and a
There you
barbecue,
go.
right?
Yeah, and Phantom is going off. Everybody's going off in the chat as well, dude. Sorry, that's funny.
Then he's like,
buddy
begins to smolder and singe. Lubricant flows from his synthetic exoskeleton.
Muffy begins to solder and singe.
Yes,
not Boxy.
Yes.
Okay.
So Boxy should already be like heat blistering out of his skin, dead. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's read how they say it again. From his synthetic exoskeleton, internal autogyros began a critical meltdown. His inside metal parts.
Yes.
I wish more people would have come to see us go off on this, man. Okay, Jim Shooter. Jim Shooter. I blame you.
I can't even get screaming angry at this because it's just so like it's just
effing. Bad. I'm not even monetized, so it's fracking stupid.
It's Feldergarb.
It's absolute shit, is what this is. Yeah. Okay, I don't care. Everybody here knows it. Everybody watching it knows it. This is beyond ridiculous. This is worse than the Adama one that I went off on for about 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
JT, then, how does this even? Okay, let me ask you and everybody in the chat. How does Jim Shooter? Yeah, how does Jim Shooter let this even go through? I don't care about time. How do you even say cut it off on the panel before even Phantom says just push him off the edge and be done with it?
I want to know. So the metal in the dog is melting, yet inside, they're laying on a metal walkway. And that's
it would have been treated, but yes, it would have been melting sooner or later. Unless it's the parts, right? You can say, if you want to argue that, they say the metal on the Muffy was haphazardly put together, but it's better than skin and bones and human hair. It's synthetic hair. Okay, it could burn up quick, but his metal gyro internal parts are destroying, and Boxy's just laying there like, I'm good.
Yeah,
let's go. It gets worse.
He should, Jason Voorhees, exactly.
Look at Muffy.
So then the Muffy here is melted. He's going from a solid into a liquid.
He's on fire. I'm sorry.
I mean, look, if he makes it out of this, he's going to need to be in a Darth Vader suit. His ass is charred and broken.
But nothing on Boxy is even smoldering.
Right.
It gets so bad that the Muppet himself, they say, Muffy drags him along the catwalk, torturous, until one final shudder, the brave little Dagagono and lies down beside his friend to die. but Boxy isn't even smoking.
But they're going to throw a thermal blanket on him.
Yeah, it's coming up
What?
on the YouTube side now.
What? A thermal blanket for that. Okay.
So yeah, these guys finally show up after all of this, right? Because it's been a couple times,
Mhm.
right? And to the worst door that they should have already been at, and do exactly what you just said. Wrap him in a blanket, a thermal blanket. Is he in shock? I mean, look at the Daggett. I get it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see, it gets even worse looking for him. Like you said, thank the Daggett. Looks like he dragged the boy back. So this is how they try to get out of this, everybody. Thank the Daggett. It looks like he dragged the boy back far enough from the core. God, yeah, dude. An inch?
Yeah.
Okay, so he made 2
How far
feet.
did he make it from that door?
2
He
feet
made
to
it like
the door,
10 feet from the door.
and he dragged him 5 feet. He's still in the same damn room.
Yeah.
I can't, man. This is so bad. And Muffy, and he's like, "Oh, it's Muffy," and his hair's not even singed.
No. He's lightly crying.
Okay, so then they show this heaping pile of, what did you say? Melt. He melted, right?
Yeah, he melted.
He's
He-
actually melted.
Wicked Witch of the Wested all over the floor there.
Yeah, but Boxy doesn't even have singed hair. Okay, so they have to. I don't know if Shadrach would probably need a shovel here, right, to pick up Boxy.
This is one
mean,
where the Darwin Award would have been handed out.
Yeah, so they make it like he's a hero, Dag, and I love Muffy, right? I'm a Muffy fan. Not so much Boxy, but I'm a Muffy fan, and they pull him up. Like what's the character from Harry Potter, the little elf?
Oh,
But
you're asking the wrong guy. I know who you mean, but I don't know the name.
At least he gave his dramatic death scene, Oscar-winning death monologue. But Muffy didn't even get to give a little yip yip at the end. Man, come on, right, JT?
Right.
Could he have not at least survived and died in Shadrach's arms? Dobby, yes, Phantom Dobby. We couldn't even get a Dobby scene here. Of course, it's 50 years later, but 40. But you guys get what I'm saying, right, JT? Couldn't even get a yip yip at the end. And then
And this is the end of the issue.
Yes, and that's how they end it. I tell you, man.
Okay. So I know we had some problematic issues before this. I can't remember the specific ones, but there was some unfinished artwork. There was problems with time, problems with scale, lack of explanation on some things. And I think I gave one of them an F, maybe.
You saved it to a D- only because of one or
that was the last issue. I'm talking
This
about
one?
maybe in previous weeks. We've had other weeks where we've had problems.
Yeah.
And then there's also
but
been
not like
weeks where we've given, an A plus. This one goes to a new low.
A new low.
A new
An
low.
absolute new low.
And this might be my least favorite in the entire run. We're rereading them, so I get to reevaluate that again. But
overall,
this might be my least favorite one because
14.
the last 6-7 pages of this were so unbelievably stupid.
Fracking ridiculous.
This is so bad that if I bought this comic thinking, well, the show kind of ended, they're going in a different direction, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Yeah. And then you do a Boxy Moffat one that I know was controversial. So I'll be one of those people that wasn't into them back then. And this hits the stand, and I say, "Oh, Boxy and Moffat, okay. I guess I'll do it just so I don't miss out on the Sayuri story." Then this happens.
Which
I'm thinking about just not buying next month's issue.
Yeah, because even with the artwork with the Battlestar Galactica on the splash page,
Mhm.
and one little shot of Boxy's face that was some good artwork, and the Apollo face. That 3 pieces of art, even though that splash page is something you and I and everybody's been waiting for 14 issues. The only good thing about this issue, other than that, was the soapbox, and I got so pissed about the Boxy thing, I forgot to bring it up.
Mhm.
The bulletin board. They haven't been showing the letters from people lately. They didn't do it on these 2 issues, if
Oh,
I
yeah.
can remember correctly.
Well,
They did have the soapbox.
unless the scan. Did you actually open your issue?
Yeah, oh
and
yeah.
see if
I
it was
read
in there?
I read these by hand,
Okay.
and then I go through them with us
So they
live
didn't put
on
the
the screen. I
soapbox
read
in.
these by
It
hand.
wasn't
So,
just a bad
no,
scan. They just
no.
didn't. Okay.
So one of the soapbox, I believe it was 14. Stan Lee talks about getting the issues out that he was talking about previously, having the Captain America TV show come out
Mhm.
back then, right? And then he had to apologize because they moved it up. But then he had to try to explain that, okay, but I'm writing this soapbox in September for 3 months. So we get an answer directly from Stan Lee, because I had done the video with Hungry Boy about
Right.
timing and all that kind of stuff. You came on, didn't you? I think
Yes.
you came on. Sorry if I got that. With
Yeah.
you, Hungry, and I think even Dadman made an appearance, and Mark maybe. We all talked about timing, and so that was the best part of this issue. If I didn't get the ones wrong, I think it's in 14, because I skipped over 13 because it wasn't about much. He talks about how it was 30 days that the TV station moved up the show a month, and he couldn't go back and tell people because he already wrote this one. That was the best part of this whole, except those 3 pieces of art.
Mhm.
And that's not enough to get an F out of this one. No way. I mean, are you even going to give it? I mean, what? And I don't really like grades, but I think everybody knows. I'm trying to even get to a D, and I can't. This
Right.
is terrible.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably terrible.
Yeah.
Like, even the trial was a hot mess, and everybody thought 13 was a hot mess. And then I can imagine if Gap and everybody else who had already left, and Tina and them, were like, my God, this one's terrible.
Right.
And whoever else
Right.
is listening, we still got 4 people watching. So I don't sometimes I kind of wonder what we've been watching on how it happens. You know what I mean? On how somebody could look at that and say, what are you doing?
Right.
The kid can't survive that. And then the daggett melt, like you said, JT. Somebody in that meeting that we always talk about should say, excuse me, can I say something here? How in the F are you going to have a metal synthetic thing melt and he's not even got smoldering hair? This is ridiculous. This is so stupid. And I bet you somebody probably did say something, but if it was after the fact, they didn't want to get fired.
Right.
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 Yeah. So, and we now know, even from Stan Lee, that these comics here that we're reading are 30 days out. No, wait, 3 months. What am I saying? I said 30 days, didn't I? 3 months. Sorry,
3
guys.
months.
3
Yeah.
months, not 30 days. 30 days is what they have to get them up. So sorry if I said that. 3 months ahead of each other. So he couldn't go back to write in that, oh no, the show was getting moved up because it's 3 months, not 30 days. But still, JT and everybody, isn't somebody have the balls to sit there and say, this is so stupid? Do you think that actually happens and they get into big fights about this? Or, you know what I mean?
I don't even know if they just said, "Hey, you over here, write us an issue real quick," and they did. I,
Well, I guess that's why people do get fired later, right?
Yeah.
And then you can see in the comics industry people who move on to other publishers
hmm
and other different writers, and we see that. And one of Morbius I might do for Halloween, they changed all the people like the second issue or third issue in the art, and I can tell immediately. I bring that one up all the time because Morbius's face is all effed up. It's not the same.
Right.
And you're like, what happened to
Mhm.
him? And you're like, oh geez. Because I'm not really good at naming all these people like Nick Weiser and our friend Clobby.
Oh, yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
I can only do that on occasion, especially if my mind is even on track to begin with, right?
I can't do it at all ever, so don't worry.
Okay. Yeah, and those guys are so good at what they do. And talking about like J-Man and Sean and all them. We should plug their channel, by the way. But it just baffles me at time because you guys and Hungry had kind of set us straight. Sometimes you can't change it. It's too late. It doesn't matter how bad it is, right? But they do send to the editors a basis, a synopsis, because Hungry would tell you, and other guys would tell you, sometimes when they had to fix things, everybody, they spent 3 days up. Hungry would tell you, I spent 3 days with no sleep sometimes trying to get shit done because somebody else effed it up, right?
Mhm.
Or they didn't do it right and they had to fix it, and then we had to go back and fix it. And I don't know Jim Shooter personally, but if you would have had time, this one got by you, buddy.
Exactly.
Because it's actually insulting. I'm sorry, man.
It
I
is.
guess that's what it is. It's insulting
It is.
to everybody's intelligence. Even to a 15-year-old kid would know that that's just inconceivable, and that was
Mhm.
for you. Who did the Vincini? That's for you, Fanty. Inconceivable, right? Oh, I wish
Yes.
I had that. I should have gone in and done that and played that for everybody. Inconceivable. If Mark was here, he could do it.
Yeah.
But
I give this an F.
yeah,
It just rank. Buddy Hepburn gives it 0 boxes out of 5. I mean, it's certified rotten.
holy
I
shit,
mean,
that's
it
hilarious.
yeah. Like I said, this would be bad enough. I would consider just not buying anymore. Just done with the run
It-
at this point.
That's an excellent take on it. That's an excellent take, and 0 boxes out of 5 is pretty good. And here's an excellent one from Panty too. This is for you, JT.
Yeah. Now, Phantom Outsider brought up a good point. We should be focused on Starbuck. This should have been like a Starbuck comic issue where we spend the whole time with him on the spare parts planet, and him interacting with her and being kind of
Yeah.
tantalizing and some stuff like that, right? We
Or
didn't.
or we didn't need any of this with the trial because they screwed up the trial.
Well,
I mean, it
but
doesn't
you
follow
could have
any
done
legal sense
you
whatsoever.
could
They
have
would have had
done
a good
a third trial or half trial and half Starbuck or 2/3 Starbuck, right? You don't even need this stupid
none of it.
story in there.
None of this part. And Mark is the only one. Mark said it straight the first time. Well, it's because of the kid angle. They had to put it in. I was like, well, if he was here now, I guarantee he probably agrees. So, well, not this issue.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I think we all agreed with Mark on his point that because it was the show, you had to have them in there, and then it builds the sales. But if you're going to have the dialogue that we've seen, Fry, I'm alive, Fry,
Yeah,
we love
yeah.
that. The sexual innuendo, it's not for an 8-year-old. It's not for a 7-year-old.
In Phantom Outsider says yes, because 12-year-olds are riveted on court procedures. Yeah.
Well, they didn't even get that right.
In Buddy Hepburn brings up an interesting point here. He's saying, I wonder if there are other comic stories from this time that maybe this was a draw over of. So they would take this standard story and maybe it would work for Lassie, or it would work in a standard generic DC or Marvel superhero story, or and so we're just going to
Yeah, sure.
take
But Lassie would
all of
pull his
plot
ass out of
points.
there with a little bit of smoking, and he would have pulled the kid out of there. He wouldn't have just laid over and then the kid not suffer any injuries at all, right?
Mhm.
If I'm thinking correctly,
I
Lassie
don't
would
even
have.
know. I mean,
I remember Lassie.
yeah.
Well, I guess it gives us something to look forward to because Fanti, I think we all know. I think what his point is, it should have been in this one, not the next one or the one after, whatever they go off on. I'm not going to tell. If I remember, I kind of remember.
I think
But
15 and 16 do trend upwards. However,
Yeah.
if I remember kind of roughly where we are in the story, it does trend up.
Well, yeah, we will be getting back to Starbuck eventually, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we're going to have to, right? It's Starbuck. It's one way or another somehow. We don't know
Right.
how, but we will. But I guess this is I'm going to put this one as the worst one over the Adama one that I was telling you about, where he launches himself from a moving, air car, whatever the hell you want to call it, rover, air, you know what I mean?
Right.
Onto the
Mhm.
bridge to save the lady. I thought that was bad until I remembered and then read this one. So far, this is my worst, but we'll get into it. It was Lassie and Timmy. The final Lassie's Timmy and the Raptor lead us to the girl Lassie lays down.
Yeah.
So
Next week we're doing what 15 and 16. Those definitely look
15
up.
and 16. Yeah.
There's definitely more going on.
Definitely more going on. Yeah, well, thank you for being here, and shout out to Buddy, Phantom, Tina, Dad Man, a few other people that I might have missed along the way. People who are lurking. I think there might have been a few people actually lurking at one point. I get Tina, Dad Man, especially you, JT, for coming on and helping me out. Gap.
Oh, of
I
course.
think I said Gap. And I think that was everybody, at least in the chat.
Everybody
if
not
I've-
lurking. Yep.
Yeah, if I missed you, I am sorry. But thank you for being here. And barring anything going on, any tropical storms that might head my way in less than 3 days, we shall see. Hopefully that won't happen. We've had enough.
Right.
Right. I guess we will say goodnight, JT. Or do you want to plug your what's going on as always for you and the rest of the week? You and Admiral Teague, what do you got?
So I think Friday evening I'll be playing Late Night Fortnite with Mark D with the C. I believe that's still on his channel. And then Saturday, I don't believe we'll be doing anything with Dad Man unless he's got good stuff going on with camping, right? He was saying his Wi-Fi might be iffy or good. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
So we might do some football action on Saturday. We may not. But then for sure, we have locked in Saturday night with Admiral Teague doing Saturday Night Star Trek. And we are in season 1 of Enterprise.
Yeah, you can plug his channel in there if you want, JT. As always, you never have to worry about that with me. Just throw it in.
Thank you.
Anybody we talk about, if you feel like throwing it in, just throw it in. Putin's cat stopped on in. You could throw him in there as well, or I can get it. Yeah, Putin, we're just closing up now. You missed the ranting and raving. We go back about a half hour and see some ridiculous comic book stuff. But no worries, Pete. I'm glad you could stop in and say hello. And JT, did you get that in, or you want me to throw it in?
I got it in there.
Cool.
And
Excellent.
that's all I have locked in for now. But you never know. You never know.
Yeah, so. Everybody, I've been kind of lackadaisical just doing these after my trip back from Ireland, which was pretty good for the most part. Little stressed because I had left the night before. If you guys aren't aware of that, JT is. Mm-hmm. I left the night before the Orlando airport closed, and I had moved up my trip a day earlier. If I hadn't have done that and gone out of Tampa, I wouldn't have even made it for the most part, unless I could have caught that flight. So it was a little stressful until I got emails from people saying we didn't get it bad. But I'm going to try to start doing some more things, some more nerd stuff on the cuff type things. And I'll be in touch with you about with JT and stuff about some other stuff. Yeah. And awesome. Halloween stuff, with a billion other people on YouTube as well. I mean, hey.
It's a week away. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a week away. So who knows? Maybe I'll get up and start doing something tomorrow and every day, just throwing something, maybe some watch parties like Creature of the Black Lagoon. I got the three movie. Maybe I'll do a marathon, all 3 of them back to back. Who knows? That kind of stuff. But other than that, Any words from the chat? Other than that, we will say
We're good.
so long and thank you for being here.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night.